Welcome to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode 221.
Just cranking them out.
Yeah.
Dave, we're just cranking them out.
We are. We're on a roll, man. We're flying, and October is here. Oh boy, I didn't spill my coffee on my computer, did I? No. October's here.
Oh my God, you got
October.
a pumpkin mug. This is officially our Halloween episode.
Yes, not just any pumpkin mug. This pumpkin mug came from a Starbucks in the UK, in London, England, and you can only get it there. So you get the Starbucks cup, but you can only get this in London. Yeah, so I got to be real careful. My
well, how did you get it?
Because she was.
No, I forgot. Yeah, awesome.
Remember I told you.
Yeah,
she went to the Bills game. Yeah, so she went out and had her phone with a friend in London for whatever 4 days. Did this to the Jack the Ripper tour. Did some other thing. Did this. Went to some Alice in Wonderland thing. Saw the changing of the guard. Did all that cool stuff. But she goes, I gotta get this because they told her in the store, this is UK only. You can only get this here, they said. So she bought it, and then she came home. And she was talking. I wonder if that's really true. I looked it up last night online, and it's true. It's UK only. Like if you want to buy it like from here, it's like freaking I don't know, like $50 or something.
Yeah, because you have to pay stupid like import fees and all that crap. So, well, you better take good care of it.
Tell me about it. I know.
Rack only.
Right? Yeah, it's not being used much. This is my first time, but I was like, I got to bring it out for this, and I get the Tim's cup. I don't know if you know this, but do you ever take a Tim's cup of coffee and put it in the microwave after you've gotten home?
I've done it in the past, yeah.
Or something.
I've done it.
Have you noticed that when you do that, it only stays hot for like freaking 2 minutes after you take it out of the microwave? There's something about the Tim's coffee in their cups that even when you heat them up in a microwave, it's almost like a temporary heat. I don't know what it is. It does say do not microwave right on the cup. So there might be something up to that. But it's like, so now if I have a Tim's cup, I get my coffee like I go right away to the store. I take a shower, I get up, I go to Tim's, I get breakfast, including coffee, come home, and it takes me 30 minutes to set up this freaking monstrosity. So in all this, I eat, but I save my coffee for showtime. I'm a very particular person about what I do and when I do it. So I don't drink the coffee till I'm on the show. Exactly. So instead of heating it up in the freaking cup, the Starbucks cup, the Tim's cup, I put it in a regular old coffee cup. Starbucks, do this, and it stays warmer this way. So works out.
Well, it's a good strategy.
So, yeah, we're all Halloweened out.
Yeah, I mean, I had Tim's this week because I was away for work. So like when I'm on the road more, I tend to gravitate towards Tim's. I actually had Starbucks a couple of times, which is not like me. But what I've tried to do is switch off from the Tim's food. Starbucks has what I feel like are healthier choices. I actually don't really know in the big picture how healthy they are. But, it's like a egg white and feta spinach wrap, as opposed to like a sausage and egg, or the egg bites.
Sounds better.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall it's got to be slightly healthier in the big picture when you're not making it yourself and it's not totally fresh. But what are you going to do when you're at work? And I'm trying to find these healthier solutions than tossing down a burger and fried chicken constantly.
That's true. I mean, it's tough. I can't even get into it. My father's 85, and when he was my age, maybe she started trying to freaking get into better eating and stuff. But all I can say is that everybody, when I was a kid, everybody ate shit all the time. Italian people, they're always eating this, that, and all this stuff. Freaking, you know what I mean? Pasta, bread, freaking sausage, everything. Well, I'll tell you what, most of them have lived long lives. He's 85, and now his brother passed. My Uncle Rocky, God rest his soul. They all have had heart problems. But with modern science, with medicine, I should say, the things that are going on are actually kind of incredible. So it's almost like I do, I do. I don't want to say the best I could, but I make efforts and I go back and forth with them and whatnot. But it's like I keep thinking, if all these guys lived all these years, I mean, shoot, I should be okay, right? But I
Well,
don't know.
yeah.
Food might be so much worse now because of what they put in it.
Well, I always there's two things. A, did they drink a lot of red wine growing up? Was it like did they have like my uncles? Like I had two
Nah,
uncles on my mom's side. They always had wine on the table. Always. To this day, they've got wine on the table. Well, only one's around now. To this day, wine on the table every day. I'm gonna go strangle my dog in a second here. Just he's barking away. I don't even know
heard
if you
that.
can hear it, but it's because I have this door open because I don't know what's going on with her internet today. But that there's something to be said. Now, again, the problem with wine being healthy is they mean have a glass of wine a night, like 5 ounce. Everybody's got like a nine
Right,
ounce, and they drink a bottle, and then they go, "Hey,
right.
I'm being healthy. I'm drinking red wine." No, it's in moderation, you fucks. Like anything. So I don't know, but there's something to be said about wine because guess what's not good for you? Supposedly smoked meats and all that stuff that hey, Italians love prosciutto, salami, and whatever. They
Yeah,
copious amount every day that's on the table. And another thing, like even if it's just cut to have as a snack or part of lunch or whatever it may be, it's
freaking
always that.
cheese. Think up,
But
think about all the
when
Italian cheese. My
well, this is
God.
it. And when you try to make healthy choices, it's like got to get rid of all of that stuff. Stuff is all gone.
Yeah,
But on top of that, I've always said it. I've made jokes about it in the past, mostly on TGIF 13. But usually I regurgitate the jokes. It's just the way I am. So they always end up coming over here at some point in time or whatever, because that's just the
yeah.
way. Like I say, that's how my mind works. But it's when I was a kid. I remember you'd eat whatever you wanted run to the bath. I'm talking about even in my teenage. Run to the bathroom, take a crap. I know. Sorry, folks. We're going right to the crap talk today. Wipe my butt. One
Already
one wipe, done.
one.
One wipe,
The fuck.
done. When I was a kid, when I was a teen, when I was whatever. Nowadays, it's one roll, done. I don't know what's
Oh,
happening, but I'm going through like a roll, a clip. It's crazy.
one roll. Sorry, I
Oh,
had microphone
I'm,
issues. Hold on.
it's
I
again, it's
unplugged my
probably the
mic.
internet. Oh no, here we go.
I can't
Well,
hear
I'll keep
for a
talking.
fucking.
It's this is our life today. This is gonna be our life. I'll keep talking. I'll keep talking. Uh-oh, Dave is freezing on me. So maybe I'll stop talking and figure out what's going on here. Hey everybody, we had to shuffle shit around just to make
We're
sure that
back.
this audio is clean. Yeah, we're back.
I
Not
moved.
stuttering. Well, I can't promise I'm not going to be stuttering because I do that every day, every show. My God, when I ramble, it drives me crazy. Even when I don't ramble, it drives me crazy.
I'm
But
I'm unplugging these fucking things.
oh, you still having some audio issues.
I have to fucking take these things and fucking eat them and fuck them right on the ground and then piss on fucking
You put,
AirPods.
I put mustard on it and eat the fucking shit.
Now it says I'm disconnected, but I can't hear you. How can my computer not fucking hear? Hey, there you
Same
go.
system. You can hear me now?
I can hear you now. We are situated at last. We can ease our way in.
Maybe maybe because Wi-Fi's spotty in the forest I'm in.
Yeah, right. If Wi-Fi doesn't work,
Holy
anyone there to find out?
I think the microphone didn't want us to talk about shit that I think that's exactly what, the second we talked about shit, everything went down the toilet.
Oh, literal shit. That's right. You
Yeah.
were saying something about, yeah,
Well,
toilet paper roll. Oh, you're like my wife. I
I mean, not a
use the
whole
fucking
roll.
paper, I think. I tell her.
I'm exaggerating a bit,
But
but
still,
it's a night and day situation from back in the golden days.
I'm a 3 to 6. I'm a 3 to 6 fucking ply person, and I wipe 3 times. So that's it. The most I'm gonna use is 18 fucking rolls of toilet paper. I bring it out 3 sometimes, and I
18,
fold it
18
over.
squares.
Yes, yes. I conserve, man. I'm a fucking. If I was a single man, people would think I was a fucking miser because I conserve every fucking thing and I don't want to spend a cent on anything. Everything I spend is for fucking somebody else. It's so rare at this point
Well,
that I spend anything.
I hear you. Toilet paper is one of those things I'm going to spend money on. I'm not going to be one of those ones that uses wipes with one side, let it dry, and then wipe with the other
No, I'm not
side.
that obscene about it, but I still know that I use less than 20 fucking little squares per session, where I think fucking Irene uses 60. Who fucking knows?
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
And
No,
I
Irene and
know
I
it's
have,
different.
that's what we've got in common. See, that's what I
Yeah.
ask. If like, if I ever go in speed dating, that's going to be one of the first questions I ask. How many squares of toilet paper do you use when you take a shit?
That is a good question
Yeah.
because you do want to conserve. Hey, as long as they got a better job than you and make more money than you and they plan on staying there, everything else is inconsequential to me. That's what I would be thinking about speed dating.
That's what you,
You know?
that's what you're going to put in your bio, right, on your thing. Like, as long as you make more money than me and
Yeah,
occasionally tongue my nuts,
yeah. Just give
things
me
are
the
going to be
fucking money and
A-okay.
comfort. Yeah, let our take home be this combined or something, and you know what? That makes a big difference in life. That's the way I'd be thinking. You know,
Well,
I don't know.
yeah. But we are
We're
two,
here.
dare I say, middle-aged guys, even though we don't look it. We look great. We don't feel it. We don't act it. But I think that's just the sign of the times. Like, back in the day, uh, 50, like 40, I'm 49, you're 50 and change. And forever 40, as we said.
Yeah, true.
And the thing is, this is not what, remember, you don't think of it like this. If you remember the Golden Girls, we talked about on the show before, the Golden Girls, I think Blanche was supposed to be like 50.
Yeah, but why were they called golden?
I
Isn't
know.
Golden Girls referring to fucking your golden years?
Well, yeah, like if anything, Sophia was the Golden Girl, but even like, so she was supposed to be 85, and I think Dorothy, but I think Blanche was supposed to be in around 50. They should have played around with that. And they were all supposed to be, like you said, retirement age, 60, 65. But I believe in the show she's supposed to be 50. Or
Well, they
in
worked.
in real life she was really 50, but it's
They
crazy.
they did have jobs. Maybe she was in real life. That's possible. But they
But she was
all were
supposed to be
employees.
older. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And I remember Blanche got menopause in one episode. So, that's got to be a certain age. You get menopause at like fucking any time from like late 40s. So, like,
yeah.
yes, is I don't know. What do I know about fucking women except how to make
What
them
do I
money?
know about women? We know nothing, and we
Nothing.
like to keep it that way.
Yeah. If I know how to please them, that's good enough for me. And that took
Yeah,
a long time to fucking to become masterful at. But
they have encyclopedias. Remember that a guy would come around and try to sell you encyclopedias, and it would be about like world events. You're like, asshole. Just give me the encyclopedia of women, how to deal with
right?
women. Yeah, one volume done. That's all
It
I
should be a
want.
movie.
I'll pay top dollar. The encyclopedia of women.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
Encyclopedia of Women. That'd be a good movie, like a good title
The
for a movie.
encyclopedia. Wait. We got to be the encyclopedia of she, her.
Oh fuck. You're right. What can you say anymore? I don't
Yeah,
even know.
yeah.
It's funny because I'm catching up on what do you call it? Family Guy. I'm almost to fucking modern
He,
times.
him. Family, he, him. I'm sorry.
Well, Family Guy is so funny because they make jokes about that. That's what's great. Family Guy has become South Park, where they yes, I mean they do lean left ultimately, but they fucking also make fun of both sides
Oh,
excessively.
yeah,
They
they do
lean one
everything.
way, they don't, but it doesn't mean that they're fucking abnormal people, like the kind of people we talk about, where they're extreme,
Abby
you know,
normal.
and be normal. So it's great because they made fun about. So I don't even know what to call anybody anymore. I forgot what it was, but they were talking about fucking things like that. Pronouns, is it? Is
Did
that the
you
word?
watch Totally Killer yet?
No, it's on
Uh,
my list though. Like
the reason
VHS 85 and
okay,
like yeah, but Totally Killer for sure. I'm gonna watch it, and so is VHS, and so is there's another one. I have
the
like three or
downfall is
four.
whenever I pump up a movie for you, typically it's not received well on your end. You either kind of like, it's okay. Like typically, I think the reason this one's so good, because it really does. Like I was trying to avoid any descriptors because you haven't seen it, so maybe I'll continue to do that. But it's again the script and some of the jokes that they get out of that based on the scenario they're in, and again, I'm being very cryptic, but based on the plot of the film, yeah, it's a little
Mhm.
silly. But if you've bought it in other movies and enjoyed it, they sell it well enough here. But like I said, when it comes to the slasher aspect of it, I feel like it
Mhm.
delivers.
That's
So,
exciting. That's what I
but
want to
the
hear. Oh,
but the comedy aspect and the script is pretty smart and funny. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because it dabbles like with what we're talking about right now, based on where they go in the story, and how things have changed drastically in a social environment.
oh, so they talk about that in there.
Well,
Okay.
again, without spoiling what the story is about,
Right.
I'm trying to
But
make
it
sure I'm
comes
not
into
going off
the
the charts here. Yeah,
it
yeah.
comes into play.
A lot of things come into play, and that's what I love about the movie.
No, that's cool. No, I'm definitely excited about seeing that. I want to see that. I want to see the VHS. I want to see two of the other ones too that I want to see, which is good. It's an exciting time, and I just watched a couple good movies recently as well. So I'm things are shaping up to be better than they were, which they usually do.
Yeah, we said
I
it. Eric texted
but
me
it's
and
still
said
weak.
he was down on the year, and
It's
yeah,
still weak.
I mean, it's not a great year. We all know this, but there's been a
Yeah.
lot of enjoyment in the last few watches, and there's still more to come. And I took your advice, so I went away, and my whole goal on Tuesday night was to go see Exorcist Believer. But then you mentioned, you know what? Go. You don't really have to see it. It's
Right.
it's going to come out in streaming, I think, in the end of the month. That's how quickly they're trying to put it out now because of the critical response, which is weird that they're basing their streaming release date on critical response rather than box office, because it actually didn't do too poorly considering the critical response. I think it pulled in
Right.
over 50 million, but far cry from the supposed 400 million it cost to make. But by the time this episode hits,
And
it's probably going to be available for streaming. So I'll just watch it in the comfort of my own home, I guess.
And you know what else is going to be available for streaming is When Evil Lurks.
Yes,
Because
yeah, very soon I heard, right? Or again, by this point, it's already probably happened.
I think the
Uh,
27th of October is supposed to
yeah,
be the day it drops on Shutter. It was so weird going to the theater and seeing the Shutter logo come up on screen because that's what
yeah.
happened. I forgot to mention that. I've never seen that before. I'm like, oh, that's weird.
And with that
A
killer John
Shutter,
Carpenter score too, like the dun dun
yes,
dun dun.
yeah.
Here's
They paid him for that.
$500,000, John Carpenter.
Right.
I'm kidding. I don't know. I
Well,
don't know what he got for that, but I was like, wow.
whatever he got, it was nowhere near as much of a waste of money as whatever they paid for Exorcist, the new one. Even though the movie's fine and it's not bad, you said something about if you're talking anything triple, well, not triple, six digits, seven high, like fucking, like you said,
Yeah,
400 million, whatever the
yeah.
fuck, that would be. I don't see where that budget could have possibly gone in that movie to
That
make
was
it
for
have
the
enough.
rights. That's for the rights for all three, supposedly. So I think
And they
that was
didn't
just
even
to get
need
the
three.
rights. Yeah, I
Oh, see,
know.
that's crazy. And it's not a cliffhanger, so there's nothing happening for them to really say, why are you going to watch this movie and see a two and a three? They don't need, they should not even have a second and a third. Let this be as it is, because it doesn't make sense to me to, I
Well,
don't know.
I don't know. So much backlash. I mean, I'm gonna obviously make my own judgment call. I've seen people say they loved it,
Wow.
liked it, hated it. You've got I guess it's like every movie really in the big picture, but the negative voice is the loudest
Well,
for sure. Well, why do I
as
look at it?
always, it's monstrous and it's the usual. And it's a movie that people are going to hate for sport. That's exactly what they do for certain movies, and they do. It's like a freaking it's like a joke. It's like, okay, well, let's all pile on, and everybody's so pompous. It's so weird the way people talk about movies online. I just don't understand how they hate on some of the stuff they hate on so much. I'm like, I don't know where you were in the 80s. I
Yeah,
do not understand how they critique this, and that, and everything else about modern film. But in the 80s, they can give it a pass. And I love the 80s as much as anybody, but I do not. You know what I'm saying? I can give things a pass now because I gave the same things a pass in the 80s. What has to be different about now that everybody thinks that we're so educated now or something? It's a
Oh,
joke,
well, I
you
don't know.
know?
Like people seem to forget or seem to omit in this argument, like, oh, this is blasphemous. I can't believe they tried to do it again. Whatever. Okay. You guys realize there's an Exorcist 2, 3, 2 fours, a TV
Yeah.
series. I mean, this is not
Yeah.
like brand spanking new franchise here. This has been a franchise for a long time. And everybody talked high regard for part 3, which I like. It had that really good jump scare that everybody references and whatnot.
Oh
It's
yeah, oh,
also
it's a great
pretty.
flick.
It's pretty smart as well. Uh, but it's not. I don't know. It's not fantastic. I mean, some people consider it fantastic. I'd say it's
Some do.
really good. It's really good. Maybe 7.5. I think I'd be hovering around at a 10 with it. I mean, I've got some issues with it too. It's not the fastest paced film, but I like it for what it is. I've told you, I've tried to go watch Exorcist, the beginning versus Dominion and whatnot. I just can't really seem to get into either of them. So I haven't been able, I wanted to watch them back to back so I could
Yeah,
see what is similar or different. It's still weird to me that
weird.
one's Reddy Harlan directed and one, it's like someone else came in and changed it up. It's just odd.
It is
Um,
odd.
Exorcist 2, John Borman, that one is just, I can't even watch it. I find that, like, again, I
I
think it's
can
one of those ones that cinematically, like from the cinematography standpoint, looks really good, but the movie itself is not great at all.
and it's so weird because the people that were in the movie and everything else does like it seems like it was a big budget thing. Like what's her name was coming right off of freaking winning the Oscar or being nominated for the Oscar for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And then she went right into this. And then there's another really good actor that's in that movie. These are like actors at the time that were like, revered and they were coming off awards and shit. So I always
Yeah.
think about that. Man, imagine what they were thinking when Exorcist 2 came out because it's a sequel to The Exorcist and you give it this great cast and crew and everything. And then it's just like dull and weird.
Yep.
It's so odd.
And
I
again,
like it though.
like, well, you like it. I've read people that defend it and whatnot. So be it. That's what the horror community should be. We just, again, we sometimes talk in extremes here, and that might trickle over into our group chats. At the end of the day, you like what you like, and what's the big picture? We always say it, but we
Yeah.
definitely. It's like sometimes I'm dumbfounded, and I'll express that with certain films, but you know, typically it's supposed to be all in good fun. Um, and
It
the
should
rage
be.
is usually, if we're rage filled, it's usually again on this show for entertainment purposes because you can let loose on something that really should make you feel anymore like, no, that movie was not that great. Oh well, I don't have to watch it again. That should be the end of it. But we could talk here in
Right.
extremes and voice
Oh no.
like our inner thoughts, which is great. And if people can't realize that and it's fun, then so be it. Like I mentioned it last show, but the person that said I can't understand why people will use the word hate for a movie. Ah, I mean, hey, it's a
Well,
descriptor.
we covered it, I guess.
Yeah, we
Yeah, I
did.
mean, it's not something I want to do on the normal, but I get it. It would have to be an extreme thing for me to say such a thing. But I want to say so. I don't look at the what do you call it, the Facebook feed. I only see what's at the top, like the top post that gets a lot of action. Something always comes up every time you go on. It's something new. And this is off topic, but it is about posting on social media and negativity and how funny it is. I saw like in the last couple days, like 3 people posting saying basically Taylor Swift, I don't get it. Okay. I don't fucking get it either, but what is it about people that when something becomes popular, if they're not into it, they have to make it into like a freaking thing like that. I don't get it. Oh, what's all this Taylor? What's so special about her? It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're not gonna.
Well,
It's such
yeah.
negative nonsense. Why can't people just talk about what they like? I don't know.
Well,
I just
the same crowd that will shit on people for liking Master of Puppets because it was in a Stranger Things episode or whatever. So it allowed new people to experience. Isn't that good when you
Of
like
course
it?
it
But
is.
again, metal fans and horror fans for that matter, they want to sort of protect their shit, and they don't like when it crosses over to the mainstream all the time.
Yeah, but it's still genre, even though
Yeah.
it's become a mainstream show. It's still a genre type show. It's just because we're in that time now where, and Master of Puppets is played on fucking rock radio. It isn't like it's
It
something
exposed it to a
obscure.
younger generation that like same with like what was that other one, the Kate Bush running up the hill, like great song, but like
Yeah,
I mean
it
it
is.
kind of disappeared, I guess, from some people. I mean I knew about
Yes.
it, but then it became super huge, and I think Master of Puppets, even though it's played and we know it and it's on my playlist constantly in the sense of like always on my phone, it seems that it's strange to us. But I don't shit on the fact. But these people are like, oh, I like Metallica back and like, like I'm a true Metallica fan. Yeah. Well, some of these kids weren't born in the 80s.
Well, yeah. Hey,
you know,
I'm just glad it's Master of Puppets and it's not fucking
Enter
I don't
Sandman.
know, pick something from fucking Load or Reload or some shit like that. That era.
Well,
You know
people,
what
if
I
you
mean?
remember when Enter Sandman came out and that album, the Black album, that album got
Yep.
shit on because
Beginning of the
it
end. Well, it was the
became
beginning of the end.
mainstream.
Well, yeah, but not because it became mainstream, because the music just wasn't good. Because the album as a whole, after the first four, when Enter Sandman came out, when Black Album came out, there was just like 3 or 4 tracks that were just like, eh. And I never said that before about a Metallica album. So at the time, I had everything going for me. I was fucking balls deep in Justice for All is still my favorite fucking album from Metallica, one of my favorite albums, period. So I'm still on that high of fucking Justice. So I'm expecting Black Album to be fucking amazing. And the Sandman, as a single came out, I thought it was great. But as a whole, the album just didn't hit me the way the other. And now when I went back to listen to it, maybe like 2 years ago, and I was like, yeah, there's like 4 or 5
Did you
songs, and
did you
I
say it's
they're
sad but
just not
true?
doing it for me.
I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah, I did.
sorry.
I'd say that. Yep. Yep.
It's sad
That's a
but
great song.
true. Yeah, it is a great
That's
song.
another
No,
great song.
they have
It's
some
just
great
radio
tracks.
hit.
Well, see that album was, I don't want to say overproduced because I think I like that album. And at the time I loved the album, but I also loved my favorite. Always seems to be Ride the Lightning. That's the one. But and
Nice.
Justice for All is right
Great
there.
album.
Funny enough, most people put Master of Puppets at the top, but I think I put Ride the Lightning with And Justice for All there, and then Master, like all three of them, they're kind of like they're right there. They're all great albums.
Yeah.
But I tend to
Yep.
lean to get to Ride the Lightning more. We've mentioned on the show before as well. But Black Album, loved it at the time, but super produced. And I think that's what pissed
Hmm.
people off. It had a more slick sound than what the
I guess
the
so.
uh, the last few albums had. I mean, that's progression. They wanted to reach, and that's what led them to international stardom, really. They were building, 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 and then that album hit, and it was just like, the lightning in a bottle. Now, I wasn't a big fan of Load. It took a while for that to come out, or Reload.
Fucking
But
terrible.
yeah.
I
Have you
tried.
given their new
I tried.
album much of a listen?
No, I really should. I have it.
Yeah.
I listened to track one day one, and then I fucking didn't go back to it yet. But I will. It isn't that I don't want to. I'm just not through with the vocals anymore. I don't like the way James sounds anymore. And I
Well,
mean, it's just my own personal thing. And I know what happens with age and everybody is, but his singing style is just
it's
different than it used to be,
it's
you know?
different, but it's still better than like Motley Crue and a few other poor Vince, man. Have you seen some of those? I mean,
That's
him and
fair.
David Lee Roth. These guys, David Lee Roth. I loved his voice, and I loved his voice because I knew, like, he wasn't a
No,
perfect singer, but that's what kind of was good about him.
no.
Like, the way that his nuance and the way that he would hit notes worked for me. It didn't have to be in tune all the time. I liked it, but. Like the guy's like what 60
Yep.
something, maybe possibly even 70. I don't even. But so you're going to lose it at some
Sure.
point too. But both him and Vince,
Yes.
their years are behind them, but we should know
Yeah.
that. As a fan, you should know that.
You should know it. You're correct. Right. It does happen in most cases. They do fall off. What are you gonna do? That's life. But no, I hear you. So James is still doing it, so you can't be upset about it. It's just that his style, whatever. I just Metallica. Who knows? They're whatever. I mean, those first 4 albums, I mean, 5 even in the EP. I mean, that's amazing. I compare it to the Friday the 13th franchise. You had the first 4, and then you have part 5, and then Jason Lives is kind of like fucking Enter Sandman, where they were still okay. And that's it. But then after that, it just tailed off. That's exactly the fucking, if I think about it, Friday the 13th, 1 through 4, the way I feel about them, it's the way I feel about fucking Metallica's first 4 albums. It's the same thing. And I don't think any other band had that strong of a start in the fucking metal at that time, because Slayer kind of had a slow start. And Anthrax, I wasn't crazy about their first album, and I can't sit here and say they had 4 great albums. Slayer has had 4 great albums, but they were more spaced out, I'm going to say. I mean, I guess there was 3 in a row. But still, Metallica just has that beginning where they were knocking it out the park, man. That shit was incredible. And if Master of Puppets is popular, good.
Did you hear the new Lamb of God single? Or single, I mean release. Yeah,
Oh, another
it
one.
came out
Wow.
earlier this week. It's so cool because I always, again, on my phone, there's always Lamb of God, but it's not full albums anymore because I try to not put full albums from any band anymore because then I like this has.
What?
Well, I do, but I take them off because I like to have variants when I'm driving so that it's just a song here, there, everywhere.
Well, that's what I do, but I
From
just random my whole thing.
yeah, I try to random my whole thing, but then
Random.
if you've got full albums of certain bands, because at one point I had a Lamb of God, like almost all their albums full, so you just get
Right.
like 4 Lamb of God songs in a row before it
Right.
kick off to like something else.
Well, wait a minute. You have that little music in your shit that that's what would happen? Really?
Well, I don't have that much little music, but I've got a lot of. If you have full albums and then just 1 or 2 songs of other listeners or other
Oh, I have full albums of
artists,
everybody. Okay,
well,
that's the difference.
but I used to, but then that's the problem. Like then it ends up being that again, if it's not balanced properly, then it's just the same. You end up getting like 4 in a row from somebody, and I don't want 4 in a row from somebody unless I want to listen to an actual album from that artist.
Well, yeah, that wouldn't happen with me. Like if I put my stuff on random, I even made a freaking, what do you call it? I even made a playlist called Random, and I went through my entire list. And you know why? Because this is what kept coming up on my randoms. I kept getting like fucking soundtrack stuff because I have a lot of soundtracks on it. And when I'm driving, I'm listening to this, and okay, here comes fucking Easy. Here comes Iron Maiden. Here comes fucking Van Halen. Here comes fucking Fiona Apple. All this different stuff. Here's Fish. I have so much
Yeah,
music, and all of a sudden I'm going just fine, driving, whatever. Listen to One Hit Wonders, everything, and then all of a sudden I get fucking a score soundtrack, 1 track from Hereditary or fucking from Halloween or from horror. It just isn't there for driving and for doing your thing. So I wanted to take all the stuff and other stuff I have just for playlists. Like I have these 80s stuff. 80s music is just on the 80s playlist. Not all of it, some of it. But there's some music that I only want to listen to
Bone
when I'm in
Sympathy.
that particular mood.
The
Timothy.
Yeah, no, Bone Symphony. I think I said it really quickly, so it didn't even come out the first time, but not Timothy at all. Isn't that you gotta put one foot in front of the other?
In front of the other. That's
Yeah,
wait a minute. Why did you say Bone Sympathy?
Symphony. I think isn't that the name of the band?
Bone Symphony? What is
Yeah,
that?
isn't it?
They sing the fucking song from Revenge of the Nerds?
I think so, unless someone covered
Wow.
it, and that's who. Yeah,
I never ever
Bone
knew who
Symphony.
sang that song.
Yeah, one foot in front of the
Wow.
other. I just double checked it
I
because
only knew.
you made
Wow,
me second guess myself.
that's trippy though. I never knew the title. I never knew the artist that sang that song. Wow,
When,
that's pretty
when I
cool.
first
Didn't
when
know
I
that.
first
Bone
said it,
Symphony.
I said Bone Sympathy because I said it really quickly, but it's Bone Symphony.
And I said Timothy. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway,
We're all
random,
over the
random, random.
fucking
I took all
place.
the
Yeah.
stuff off. I have all these. I got all these adult contemporary songs that my mother used to listen to in the car. I don't want to hear that normally, but sometimes I get in the mood for that, for childhood. That's the mix. And I put it in and I freaking listen to those songs that I don't even particularly like, but it's a mood piece. It's freaking, you know what I mean?
Music
It's
Box
just
Dancer.
stuff like that. Yeah, oh yeah,
You
how
remember
about that
that?
song? That freaking song kicked ass. That one,
Yeah. Yep.
that freaking
As
rock.
a kid, I used to love that. It was like one of my favorites.
It's good shit. It's good shit, man. Yeah, I got it
Yeah.
in my mix somewhere. But yeah, so anyway, my randoms just go on and on and on. Same thing with the okay, all the live Fish albums I have. I don't put that on the random because otherwise I'm getting too many live. But the difference between Lamb of God and Fish is I probably have 100 Fish albums and you probably have a dozen Lamb of God albums. So if you have 100 Fish albums, of course, every 3 songs or 4 songs might be a Fish song. So it got to the point I'm like, everything's Fish live. I'm like, I'm just going to save that for this. So I didn't put that on my random. So my random, it's like 80% of what I own or 70, whatever. But that random is just for randoms. That's how much shit I have that I have to freaking do playlist everything and everything has to be, it's like a never ending thing for me. I have all these playlists in here right now and they're all unfinished, but it's like a never ending task. I'm just going to
Well,
drop dead one day and no one's going to care about it but me. But but all this time I focus
do
on
you
that
share
shit.
them? Isn't that what the playlist thing was supposed to be? That you could create them and essentially broadcast it as your own, like your station. I thought that's what happened. I never even got into that. I have barely even make playlists. I'll download a playlist from someone. Like when I was painting the room in the basement, I was like, you know what? I just
Wow.
or not downloaded. I just streamed a metal playlist, just random songs. Some, of course, I knew. A ton I didn't know, because like horror, like anything now, you've got all this new stuff, all these other bands and whatever, and I just can't get into most of them because there's just too much content out there. That I end up just sticking with the ones that I know
Yeah.
and like. But
Dude, I got to show you how many playlists I have. You won't even believe it. See, look at all these. I'll tell you what I have. One's called Random. That's the one I was talking about. I wonder how many songs are on it. See, they don't say anymore. I think maybe at the bottom it'll say, "This is going to go on so long that I have to rifle through it to get to the bottom." And this is that mix called Random. When I get there, I'll tell you how many songs are on it and how many hours it is. I'm flying through this thing. Okay, at the bottom it says 10,622 songs, 769 hours. That's just one. That's random. So that's a lot, right? That's a
yeah,
lot. Okay. Then I have
yeah.
the workout. Workout is what I listen to when I work out,
When you're sleeping,
you
oh,
know, and then
sorry.
it's 484 songs, 35 hours, 11 minutes. I have an 80s mix. So see what I'm saying? I have one called classic rap, which is all, you know, it's from like freaking early 80s to freaking, I think I stopped like maybe like 94 or some shit. I don't know. 2,698 songs just on classic rap alone, right?
My God.
What else? I got one called Summer. I got one called Drive. I got one called Me. One called 90s. One called Chill. Favorites. Favorites is cool because it's my favorite bands and my favorite song from each band. Or like my favorite one-hit wonders will go in there too. So I pick one song from each band and put it in there as my favorite. Then I have one called Childhood. And Childhood begins, it's all the music I listened to from when I was a little kid until I was freaking graduated high school. So it's the stuff I was into, and it's the stuff that the old rock and roll stuff that my parents used to listen to, and the stuff my mother used to listen to. It was just all everything I used to hear as childhood. I have one called Sleep. I have a baker's dozen and a baker's dozen too. They have a gimmick to them. Fish studio versions, rap royalty, which is only so many rap bands or artists, and that stuff there. So it's like the best of the best. So I could keep going, and I'm not going
It's
to. I'm
crazy.
telling you, I got so much. I got Christmas, Halloween, freaking adult contemporaries, New York, all songs about New York. I have a party mix. It never ends. It never ends. I'll
It
bore
is
you to
weird.
death.
Like
So I'll
I
stop.
think one, I didn't create this list, but I guess because of what was on my playlist it created for me, it was just 90s music. It's the only playlist I've got.
Really, 90s
Yeah.
music.
But I start
I got
deleting
80s
stuff too.
music.
I end up cleaning it out. I clean it out. Whoops, here we go. Bada boom.
Yep. Same as
Uh,
always.
had to hit. I had to hit it, everybody. Mike hit for those that didn't catch that. But yeah, I change it up because I feel that the random, maybe I need to, that's my thing is I just still don't have enough. But my random, I feel like I'm always hearing the same stuff over and over again.
Like I said, I got 17, I got whatever. What was it? 16, 17,000, 10, whatever the hell it was just in my
But
random
do you
alone.
download
And
them to
that's
your
not even,
phone or do you just stream them?
well, half of them are from my iTunes, which I originally uploaded from CDs, and everything else is stuff that I streamed and get from iTunes. So I
Okay,
can buy them
because I
all.
actually
So just,
download it to my phone. I like having it everywhere I go, not worrying about it. Like, I mean, I guess I could still stream on cellular
yeah,
data, but I mean, I try not to. So I download it to my phone. So
I'd be
that's
fucked. My phone would run out with if I
well,
put if I.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
But why
doing.
download it? But why do that when you can just stream it for, you know, why put all that pressure on your phone? You don't need to have it in your phone. The only time you would need it in your phone is if you're somewhere and you can't fucking
Well, so it's a
stream from
work
somewhere.
phone, so I don't know. Although we have I've confirmed with our IT guy that it's going to be probably next to impossible to go over our data plan, but it's a work phone. I don't carry a personal phone. I don't do the two phone thing. So it's a work phone. So I don't know what the plan is. I don't want to worry about streaming music if I'm in another country or whatever
Yeah.
and doing roaming. So I download it to my phone. So I just can listen to it whenever I want to and not worrying about streaming. I download it when
True.
I'm at
I just
home
don't
and
want.
on Wi-Fi.
I figured it would fuck up your phone though, because it would slow it down, and you got so much in there. Like I don't even know how much room I have in my phone. I barely have any downloaded music in it. I'm probably fucking using half the memory. So I think about it, there's no way I'd fit all that music. You know, if I were you, I would just buy an iPod. That's all. And it would
Look at the
just for
first
music.
message. I don't even care. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this.
I see something.
Oh,
Oh
damn it.
no, I did, but
Here.
because your stuff's all effed up. Nothing about. Nope, I can't see Taylor Swift, but I don't get it. It says.
That very
Ah,
first
see
thing I
what I
popped
mean?
up, I clicked on Facebook. I just clicked on Facebook and that's the first damn thing that popped up. Posted 1 hour ago.
Boom. There you go. See what I say?
Yeah.
It's fucking people are all over that shit. Now, I don't understand it either,
Holy
but
shit,
you
the
know what?
very first thing on my feed. That is hilarious. Well, yeah,
See?
my phone wouldn't have heard you because it's all coming through here. Because that's the other thing.
Uh-huh.
That's the other thing. Like, there's obviously cookies, and then the things that you talk about, you're like, hey, I could use a new mattress, and then suddenly you're seeing mattress ads everywhere. Oh my god, this damn thing. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm hitting my mic left,
It
right, and center
happens.
today, but that's
It
hilarious.
happens. Yeah, see what I'm saying? You just gotta ignore people. What else can you do? At the end, when it's all said and done,
What
all
don't
you're
you get?
following nobody.
People said I don't get Madonna.
And
I don't get, you know, like it seems like you could say that about everything. They don't get. I could tell you, all those fans don't get metal.
right,
For the most
correct,
part. I'm
100%.
generalizing. So, I mean, of course you don't get it. It's not
Right,
your style of music. I don't understand.
right,
Hey, I went to one of her concerts. I think I told you on the thing. I brought my kids to the Red
right.
concert back in 2013 or whenever the hell it was. And I went not thinking I was going to enjoy it. I enjoyed it. She came out. I think she had a guitar at one point. She was singing. Sheeran or whatever his name is, he was a nobody at that point. He came out as an opening act. He came out, voice, guitar. I respect that. Singing, not at living. It was just a music, singing the guitar. I thought it
Yeah,
was great, and she was good. She did more than that. I'm just saying that was it.
right,
I didn't know any of her stuff really. The
right.
girls were happy. I mean, I don't follow her. I'm not a Swiftie. I know nothing about her, but I took my kids to that concert. I had a better time than I was expecting, and they loved it. That's what I remember from that. 10 years, over 10 years ago.
Wow, I think I like know one song, but so be it. It's just not my thing. That
I,
was it.
I couldn't really name a song. I know
Shake it
her
off,
albums at
right?
one
Isn't that
point.
that
Shake
song?
it, yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, that was a really big
I
one.
know that title.
And then I think she had her albums were named or numbered after her age. So like 20, 22 or something like that. If I remember
Really?
correctly at one point. And that that Kanye West like did something at an award show that kind of like he said that she won best video, and then he came up. This is all over YouTube way back when, and he interrupted and said Beyonce deserved it, and it was just kind of a
I
thing
remember
at the
that. I didn't
time.
know with Taylor Swift though. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
I remember that happened.
yeah.
Did Taylor Swift sing that song about cutting something in his leather seat with the fucking knife or some shit?
Oh, I don't
Or was
know.
that some other
I don't
band?
know that.
Remember that
Uh,
song? No, okay.
I don't know.
That's
But
okay.
yeah, I mean, I, but I don't
Well,
understand.
here's
Yeah,
the
you
thing.
don't get it. It's like you could say that about anything. Like I don't get people that like
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts. I get it. I love Brussels sprouts, but I mean, a lot of people don't. I mean,
Well,
what comment is it?
nobody talks about Brussels sprouts.
Okay,
Everybody's talking about Taylor
I guess that
Swift.
was a bad example, a horrible example. Actually, you're
No, but
right.
I'm just saying,
But
here's the thing though. They don't understand the popularity of it. So I guess you could ask them, okay, well, what do you think should be this popular? And if they say the bands they like, then you say, okay, would you want them to be this popular? Or are you glad that it's for a niche audience and for just metal? And they probably
well,
like it better that way that it's not popular. So how do
well,
you win? It's like
exactly.
literally what you just said about Metallica. When this thing
Yeah.
goes mainstream and everybody's into it, all of a sudden people are complaining.
Oh,
Even if you like it,
that's
so you
human
like it,
nature.
but you're
Human nature.
complaining that it got popular. But at the same time, you're also complaining about stuff here that is popular and you don't understand why. So there's no way to win. So ultimately, it's all going to be complaints.
Well, I remember trying to
you know.
defend horror films a lot when I was, well, I mean, not so much nowadays. It seems you don't have to as much. I know it's still out there, but back in high school, people were like, oh, how do you like, why do you like all that gore and all that stuff? I'm like, oh, I just like, I like being scared. I like the movies. I feel like they're entertaining. They offer more than what a lot of the other movies do. But I liked all film at the time as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, I liked having the posters up and whatever.
Oh yeah.
Part of that I could probably admit was to get a reaction out of people. I like it, and some people
Yeah.
would be like, "That's cool." Some people were like, "Oh, that's sick." Either way, it was a reaction. It was kind of cool. But
Right.
I would always say that when I went to a movie theater, I wanted it fucking full. I wanted the movie to be a hit. I didn't care who was in there. I wanted it to be a hit. If I went in and there was nobody in there, I was sad when I was a teenager.
Oh well, if it's a nighttime
Well,
view and it's a bunch of people, yeah.
yeah,
You
at
know.
that time
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what's going on? You know, like I want to share this with other people. Now I love it. We went in to see Saw. Like I said, there were 7 people there. Great theater to me. Great. I'm older
Right,
now,
man.
but back in when I was a kid, I wanted that theater packed. And I wanted the movies to do well because I wanted them to make more horror films. That's just how my mind worked and pretty much how the industry works, I guess. If they
Well,
were popular and sell it out, that they would constantly keep making them.
the problem is people. I don't mind being having the theater packed would be fine if they were all people like me. But if they're going to be fucking around and talking and be on their phones
Well,
and do this and do that,
yeah,
and the other
for
thing,
sure.
that's the problem. It isn't that I don't want to be around people, but I don't want to be around modern people and the things they do and the way they act. That's the problem. Is that there's no common courtesy and
What
there's
about
so much
Modern
everything.
Mouse? Do you want to be around Modern Mouse?
Modern Mouse.
Yeah,
What is that? Is that a band?
it's a band.
Is it right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got that horrible reference to it because that was a Brandon jump in if there was ever anyone, even though he was here last week. And
Yes.
it was great to have him back. We probably should have
Yeah.
just told him to come on again. Get the
Yeah,
momentum
but then
back going.
he had to watch something. That's the problem. You know,
That's true.
asking him to watch something might be a problem. No, it would have been great, honestly. You know, is he online right now? It is him. Look at this. It's based on his life. Ah! Oops.
What's based on his life?
I can't say it, but I can't make it public because then everyone's gonna know something, and then it's gonna be. Did you see that I was talking about though?
I gotta check right now.
B put up a
Oh
picture,
yeah.
and the way it looked doesn't the way that picture looked doesn't it remind you of that person?
Yeah, it does.
Or am I effed up in the head? It's the
You're a
first thing
little
I
left
thought
up.
of.
I think I'm agreed just to make you feel good. I don't see it.
Okay. As soon as
but
I saw it,
it's
I thought
funny.
of you. Yeah. Oh.
We're cryptic
So
assholes.
let's talk about this. I wanted to talk about something that's going on. This is so funny because you were there. I sent the messages like I think 2 weeks ago because I wanted to do what I do on October the 1st. And one of the things I do on October the 1st is go out in the wild, as they say, see if there's Halloween sales for Blu-rays and DVDs, etc. What's going on out there? What stores you going to go to and see? They're usually on sale. So that's one of the things. So I went to Best Buy. When I went into Best Buy, I texted you guys in the 1980 chat, and I said they took all the movies out of Best Buy. I was like, what the hell? And then literally less than a week later, all this shit break. And you see what they said now? This is a new one. Best Buy will sell DVDs through the holiday season, then discontinue sales. So
Yeah.
they're not at my store anymore. I don't know about your stores. No
Uh,
idea.
they
But
whittled them down. They whittled it down to like one little rack that had
yeah,
4Ks on them. And typically Marvel movies, to be honest.
right.
Or
Well,
of that ilk.
it's going to be over. The popular consumer electronics retailer plans to discontinue the sale of DVDs and Blu-rays, both online and in-house, starting early 2024. It has been reported that Best Buy decided to end it 9 months ago. Wow. So,
Well,
and this is what they had a statement on it too. This is the new article. This isn't the same one everyone's been passing around. This was one that just
Steve,
came out on the 13th because everyone's been passing the other one around about Best Buy, what they said, which is the same thing. But it's like, this is what they said. To state the obvious, the way we watch movies and TV shows is much different today than it was decades ago, the company said in a statement. Making this change gives us more space and opportunity to bring customers new and innovative tech for them to explore, discover, and enjoy. There'll still some movies and TV shows on physical till the end of the holiday season, then discontinue in 1129 locations with 969 in the US. The company will still sell video games. Now,
yeah.
why? Okay, PlayStation now, you could buy the one that's all digital,
You can,
or you can
and
get the DVD.
I have, in one
What
way or
about
the other,
Xbox?
same thing. With Xbox, you could do the same thing. Now, here's the thing with both. Whether you've got the physical copy or whether you've got the downloaded copy, you've got to load that damn game into your computer, meaning it's going to take up space one way or the other. So it's not like you put a physical disc
Oh,
in and you could just play. You put a physical disc in and it says downloading content, and you might not be able to play for a half an hour to an hour.
what?
Yeah, oh yeah, even if with the physical disc, that's what games that's what threw me off too. But I like the physical. I wanted the physical drive because of the 4K player
Certainly.
in it, so
Well,
that's why I got it.
that's a
Um,
problem too now. Think about
well,
this. If they're not going to be making 4Ks and all these other companies that are coming out, like the big ones like Warner and everybody else, saying that they're going to stop, and Disney, then they're not going to be selling 4K players anymore. So it's
well,
almost like you have to, it's almost like back in the days when VHS went away, people should have loaded up on VHS players, but it's hard to
well,
explain. But you
the
have to get,
writing,
they're not going to
the
make them anymore.
Well, the writing's on the wall. I mean, the game consoles will hold them for a bit. I think Sony just announced out of the blue they have a new version of the PS5 come out for the holiday season. I think I just read this where it's going to be a slimmer version, but they're still offering the disc drive version. It's just slimmed down because the PS5s are. You have one, right? They're honking. They're
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And so they're slimming them down like they usually do, and then they'll come up with a pro version probably in a year or so, and then the PS6 will come down or come out in 4 years, whatever it may be. Um, but where I'm going with it is that at least for this next gen of the console, and probably even for the Pro, they're going to have this drive in there. It'll be interesting to see if the PS6 continues the drive because now we're talking 4 years down the road. Physical copies might not be a thing because it's all about the hard drive. They ship with 500 gigs, not quite enough. Like you could put a few games in there, but the games are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So now I think the next gen has a 1 terabyte in there. So they've already doubled it. If they can make the next one with 2 terabytes, they might say, no more drive, everything's digital. subscribe to our service or buy the game digitally. I mean, that's really what they've got right now. You could do both of those things as we speak, but they still have brick and mortar stores that sell physical games, and you can still buy the hard copies of the games. But like Blockbuster, like everything else, just think of it: adapt or die. Their days are numbered. It's just, probably 4 more years.
Yeah,
Four
it's
more
more.
years. 4 more years.
Maybe that's going to have happen to do with this next
Yeah.
presidency. By the
Yeah.
end of that reign,
That's the campaign they're running on. Physical media, 4 more years.
that'd be great.
We're
That
voting
is
for
something
them.
that people
Yeah.
care about, though. See, you could
Yeah.
get some votes that way if somebody said they were going to fight for it. But I'm going to continue because this is what it says. With
Sorry.
Best Buy's departure, Walmart, Amazon, and Target are now the top retailer for DVD and Blu-ray discs. However, Redbox, which is owned by Chicken Soup for Soul Entertainment and has a nationwide network of approximately 29,000 rental kiosks, remains a strong competitor in the physical disc business. Well, let me tell you this. They took the Redbox machine out of my Walmart. I'm not saying they took them out of all Walmarts, but the one that's literally freaking 2 blocks from my house, right there, you know which one it is. You
Yep.
saw
I went
it,
I went
it's
there to
right
try to
there.
get that kitty litter.
Right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the crystals. Yeah. Did you ever get a hold of those crystals or no?
No, I never got a hold of the crystals. They don't sell them in Canada.
There's a thing you could do online. There's a new one called it's called Pretty Litter. Pretty.
Yes. I've seen those ads all over the place,
Maybe give it a shot.
Yeah.
Because the price is about the same. So who knows? But anyway, the red box is gone. I noticed it like a month ago. And I told my wife, I think it was on the phone at the time, I said, the red box is gone. I can't believe this. I was like,
Did you
wow,
ever
it
use it
really
though?
is happening. What'd you say?
Did you ever end up using it?
Have I ever used it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
okay.
It's been a while.
We don't have them here,
yeah,
and I feel like
I'm the
they
wrong
did
guy.
have one for a split second,
Mhm.
and then I never saw it again. So I couldn't tell you if we've got a red box anywhere in the vicinity. Yeah, let me Google it while we're on the topic, while we're talking. But I mean,
Are they still around?
the kiosk might be your best bet for rentals, but you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
buy from Redbox, can you? You can just rent them.
No. Correct. But Target, I've seen people make some posts about some things at Target, and half of their shelves are empty now with Blu-rays
Oh
and
shit!
shit.
We got one in town here.
There you go.
We got one in town and one in Etobicoke, like on the border of Toronto.
Nice.
Redbox.
So you got
What
a couple
the
for
fuck?
now.
Kiosk chain renting movies, including new releases. Yeah, it's in a mall with the Marshalls on Brant Street. Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, that's where the
Well,
Best Buy. I think that's where the Best Buy is. But yeah,
oh,
Best
okay.
Buy whittled their shit down. Walmart, I told you, whether it be last episode, it seems like they've just gone to DVD with maybe a handful of Blu-rays, very little in the way of 4K, if any, and DVDs, but with new slipcovers, almost like they're repackaging them as if they're brand new films or brand new content, but they're just old movies with new packaging.
Well, the only good that can possibly come out of it is if a store sells all that stuff off cheap. I'm trying to figure out what Best Buy's doing with all their stuff. Why wouldn't they have sold it off at half price in the store before doing anything? Like, what are they doing with all this physical media? They have a bunch of it. They have it online. They have it in their
They'll
stores.
figure it
Where
away.
is it
Yeah.
going? They're not selling it to Walmart. Yes.
Yeah. Well, they may have whittled it down over the last 9 months, so that they knew that their inventory was only going to be so big, and that they could get rid of it through the holiday season. Excuse me. Doesn't mean they're adding anything more. When they said they could continue to sell probably existing inventory, of course.
Yeah, but it's gone.
So,
they took it right out. That's what I'm saying. Like my Best Buy, gone,
well,
vanished.
online then. Online, everything's online. They took it out of to make way for this new technology that's going to be what? What? More streamers. And then they're going to put it online that sell through the holiday season until it's whittled away and done. That's what's going to happen. But it's going to be these boutique stores like the Sunrise Records I talked about last time, the Cinema One. Those are the ones we've got. They're still around. They're in a couple of malls.
Now,
You know,
they're still around for now.
For now is always, that's exactly what we have to say, for
Yeah,
now.
for now.
And then you've got maybe direct from Arrow, Second Sight,
Well, we know that.
Severin, and that's all. That's probably going to be the future.
And that's half the problem. That's just it,
I
though.
mean, that
Like,
is. I mean, that's the reality now. So it is going to be the future. I mean, let's call it what it is.
dude, it went down so bad. It said that freaking what is it? What was the percentage? Oh, there it is. 28%. This is the freaking in the first half of 2023, the revenue from physical media in the US dropped by 28%. And you got to figure that. What are the percentage of people that are buying physical media at that? Probably not even double that amount of the population, like 50% of the population buying, and that's probably way overshooting. So if 28% of that 50% is gone, what
Sorry. Yeah,
does that leave? There's like the way they're looking at it,
math
so
isn't
few
my
people are
forte.
buying.
We need
Oh,
Brandon
math
to
is
crunch those numbers.
I know, right? Dude, it's crazy. And now this is where we're screwed because boutique labels charge too much, and people are all too eager to pay those freaking amounts. That is
Dude, I transferred. Like I looked just because I loved looking at the sites. So they've got that Nightmare 4K, Nightmare in a Damaged Brain
okay.
4K,
All right.
3 disc on Seven Films, Canadian dollars, not including shipping, $77 plus shipping. I mean, listen, I like to collect things, but then you have to go put the reality part in your head too. When was the last time I watched that movie? And am I going to buy that movie to watch it one or two more times for
Are
that
you no?
price? No,
Am I no?
exactly.
But we already know how these people are. Nobody has any restraint. Nobody, everything's day one buy and this and that. So because of that type of behavior, which I've been talking about for years, now we're really going to be put into a corner of a niche audience. And now they're going to completely exploit us and they're going to price gouge. And the way they do that is by having disc number 2 and disc number 3 and having a soundtrack on there that
Well,
half the people
that's
don't
the
give a shit
Changeling.
about.
Did you see the
Okay.
Changeling one from
No.
Severin? So the Severin has, and so did Second Sight. Second Sight is sold out. A really nice looking package, with 3 disc or whatever. And one of the discs is the soundtrack. But then it came
Right.
with a booklet and the
Right.
lobby cards. Severance does not. Severance just comes with the
See,
and so Second Sight is now sold out, but they are at least selling the 4K on its own. So if you just want the movie, you can still get the 4K of the Changeling from Second Sight, or you can get it from Severin. It's more expensive, but it
well, yeah.
includes the CD. But are you gonna, other than loading it up and popping it on and maybe listening to it once or twice, what are you gonna do
Right.
with it? But they could jack up the prices, and that's another one. But it's
Well, that's how
considered the
they do it.
collector's edition. So do you want to go through Severin and get the collector's edition, or do you just want the 4K? In this case, I'm fine with the 4K because all the special features are on that disc.
But that's what I'm saying. But what the problem is that they might make it that everything is a special edition and everything has all these special features and
True.
everything else and another disc, and then see, so we're going to charge you this much. Where they could just give us a bare bones of the title. You know what I'm saying? Here you go. Here's your movie, $25. But instead, no, we want to charge, 50 and give you the second disc and a soundtrack and a freaking all these special features and cards and bullshit and a toy. And this is
Yeah.
the problem is that they this is what companies do. They test the market. They put things out there and they see if they're gonna sell. And when you just
That's
put
it.
out a toy, like the My Bloody Valentine toy or the Linnea Quigley one, with the that I wish I had it. But what I'm saying is everybody buys that stuff separately and they go, look at this. There's such a demand for this that we can do this. And now we can put this in there. And now we can have a package deal and charge everybody this much more. So if boutique labels are the only thing left, then
Oh,
they only have a niche
capitalism at its
audience.
best. That's what's going to happen. I
Dude,
mean, you're right.
we're
It's going to be
fucked.
special. Now, what at least Second Sight does is they've got the limited edition version and then the 4K on its own,
Yeah,
or the Blu-ray special edition. Because for
fine.
Frontiers they only did Blu-ray and then Blu-ray on its own or whatever. But so I mean, you're still getting the special features on the Blu-ray, but you're not getting all the the industrial packaging with typical
Right,
booklets, lobby cards, and whatever. So at least they're doing that, and I like that. I think that's the way to do it, so that you've got the option.
for sure.
You've
No,
got
I love having the option. How long is that going to be there? First and foremost,
yeah.
they look at the t-shirts. Everything's $30 now. I remember it was this, it was 20, 22, 23, 27. Now it's 30 before fucking shipping. There's a brand new Friday the 13th shirt from Cavity Colors that I want so bad just because it has the original logo on the front. It's really cool. It has the Friday the 13th, the one that busts through the screen, the original logo, which you never see. And then the back is like a, I want to say like a Japanese poster, but it's the regular poster with the Japanese letters. It might even be one that I have hanging in that room. I would love it, but I'm not going to spend $30. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to spend 37 fucking dollars with tax and for a T-shirt. I'm not doing it.
Well, I'm
That's what I'm
telling you,
saying.
the special
Crazy.
editions have become the new, well, not the new norm, but the pricing seems to be
Yep.
30 to $60 now. Like,
That's because people
eh,
give it. Right.
yeah, and I looked at what Scream Factory was going to be releasing the coming upcoming month, and it's no different than what we've been talking about. The joke that you made, Blue K, it's just their former releases upgraded to 4K. So when they just did the Dead Zone, what, like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, the Dead Zone's coming out in 4K. But it's okay because I don't even think I cracked the shrink wrap on my Blu-ray special edition that I got from them, and I was going to watch it this holiday season, and I'm keeping my Blu-ray. I'm not doing it. I'm pulling a U. I'm not falling for it. I don't need everything on 4K. Even though I
No
love that
way.
movie, even though I love that
Right.
movie, I don't need it. I just bought it. I'm happy with what I got there.
What can you do? And now, I just don't understand the prices. It's obscene that people are going to pay them. I don't
Well,
know
if you
how.
used to buy Laserdisc, you wouldn't be that surprised because, like I told you, like typically 69.99 was the starting point. Typically, I mean, again, I'm
Well, yeah,
going by Canadian
VHS.
prices, so 49.99 maybe in the States, whatever. That was, but then the special editions were like 100, 120. So that became that, like, when you look at it compared to that, it's changed immensely, and for the better, for the most part. For the most part, I'm talking about you get one movie, Pulp Fiction, Platoon. You never really got a series. The
Right.
first Nightmare on Elm Street, special edition, Scream. Those were the ones. The Phantasm one that I've talked about, and ad nauseum, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So where I'm going is now at least you're getting multi films in a box set for approaching that price range, or they're lower, but they're at that 70. Once you do the conversion, $70 Canadian to $80 Canadian for me, shipping included and tax included, because you're talking about from pound to Canadian dollars. You get a little bit of a break. You're probably about 10-20 bucks cheaper than I am, but it's still
Yeah, man.
50 to $70.
Not doing it. I mean, we're getting the Exorcist one. That's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That I
finally
don't
shipping.
usually. Yes. So we're finally going to get that. And that's fine. But I mean, look at even VHS when they first came out. If you lost a VHS, they asked you for $80 at the video stores. So even VHS was really expensive once upon a time, and everything is. But it's like that. Yeah, eventually you get to the point, and they figured it out. VHS started selling for $20, and then all of a sudden they were flying off the shelves. So it's the same thing with the 4Ks and everything. They could lower the price, but the thing is, we don't give them a chance because the day one buyers and all the excitement and everybody that wants to buy everything. And now it's going to be worse. And I'll tell you why. Because of what we just talked about. Because people are seeing, oh, we got to get all the physical media we can. Now we're going to get all these people, the same people that freaking told us to buy baseball cards when we were kids and to stock up on this and all this and this and this. And everybody loaded up because they were expecting one day not to be any, and we could sell it for some sick profit, because if our parents would have held on to their stuff, they would have gotten rich. So now it's the same thing now. Everybody knows now. When everybody knows and everybody's going to try to save their stuff to freaking exploit it and sell it for higher prices one day, the market's going to be flooded for 20 years. This is what people don't think. When they stop making physical media, there's a reason they're not making it. Most people don't want it. We want it. Okay. But it's going to be just the same way you could find a Friday the 13th VHS prior to, let's say, like 10 years ago. for like 20 years prior to that at Goodwill for like a quarter. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh, they're not making anymore. And they start collecting and they become this niche audience. The same thing is going to happen with physical media. So it's like, buy now when they're cheap, because there is going to be a time, I believe, when they're cheap, except the stuff we like. And that is the problem. When you go to Blu-ray.com and you look at the sales, go right now, look at the top freaking 20 things. If there's a horror movie in there from a boutique label, it's still going to say $40, $50. Every other thing, every other Blu-ray is on sale for $5, $8, anything. It could be a famous movie, Tombstone or some shit.
Oh,
this week, $8 as opposed
we
to
got to
like
start a Reddit, just like they jacked up that GameStop price during COVID to affect the stock, and people got rich off that. We've got to unite horror fans and say, stop fucking buying.
They won't.
For a time frame. Well, that's what you got to just say, stop it.
I know.
And then, but let's be honest, like a lot of these things, they do cost money to make. So if they're selling
I get
them,
that, but you know what? Let me say this.
Okay.
Let me interrupt, because if I don't say it now, I'm not going to.
No, it's fine.
Everybody,
I do it to you all the time.
when I had this conversation online, people always say, well, you have to pay, you have to think about the restoration, you have to think about the artist they commission. This is, well, first of all, this is going to sound wrong. There's no good way to say it. I respect the artist stuff and everything else, but you know what? I don't need the freaking new version from the artist. Give me the old Poltergeist with the girl on the cover and her hands on the TV. I don't need to see freaking this monster in this picture. They're cool, but if you're going to charge me more because you want to commission an artist to make a slipcover to do that, just give me the option to just not fucking have that and sell it to me for $10 cheaper. How's that?
Yeah.
But they won't.
Yeah. Well, they'll make it reversible, so you get that in there, but you're paying for the new vision.
Right. So anyway, continue what you were saying. I just had to put that out there because people say, I'll pay for restoration. I get that, but all that other shit.
That's exactly what we're going with. You're answering or adding on to exactly what I was going to say, is that they've the restoration, but if they're doing the special features, they've shipped people there. I don't know if I'm assuming they pay them or at least hold them up and in a nice hotel and give them food for this documentary. So you got documentaries being produced. They've got to make this. So I get it. So even the bare bones one, there was work that was put into it. And if they're not going to have this massive distribution, it's only going to be put through their label. I don't think prices are going to do anything but go up, unfortunately. But yeah. And I have no energy to rah a bunch of horror fans together to tell them not to buy Spookies 4K when it gets released.
I feel like bucking the system. I really feel like finding a way to buy everything at a low price only when it goes on sale. Of course, they never do.
Bucking the system is piracy. That's bucking the system. You download it from a site and you can get the 4K quality now. Like,
yeah, but I mean, and still sell it physically. I want to buy everything and sell it for $15 cheaper than everybody else. That's bucking the system. That's what I'm saying.
That's also called piracy.
No, it's not piracy at all. I want to buy that. I want to pay.
Yeah.
Let me say this again. Let's say Nightmare on the Damaged Brain comes out and they have a 1-day sale for Black Friday or something. And instead of being $50, it's $30 or something like that. And I buy them. I spend everything I have on freaking as many copies of that as I could get. 30 copies of that. And then when I sell it, I'll sell it for $35. I'll still make $5 profit. I'm not going to get rich off it, but I'm still making some profit. And everybody else, I'll be the low man on the fucking. That's what I'm saying. As a third-party seller somewhere, that's what somebody should do.
Well, that's what they're doing that, but they're jacking the prices right up. So they're buying them. They're buying the Hellraiser box set, the Psycho box set, the anything box set, or anything movie. You go on eBay and you see it jacked up. Now, some of them are smart and they're doing it where, like, blow it out of here. I've had really good luck with them most of the time, where I've gotten some pretty good deals from them. And I'm like, that's where I've got a lot of the Argento 4Ks, limited editions for cheaper than what you would have bought them from Arrow or Snaps. So I feel like I lucked out there for the most part. Like, otherwise, when I compared it to anywhere else, I'm like, this site, and they're legit. They're out of the States. They're legit. Shipping has never been an issue. Uh,
Yeah.
and so I've totally recommend buying from them from eBay. But you've got to do your homework. Don't just go. I go to this site. I go to that site. I check here
Yeah, of
uh,
course.
and eBay's usually not the best. Usually it's the worst, and it's probably going to continue to be the worst. But sometimes, if you know what you're looking for, you can get a deal.
You have to play the game, but day one buys ain't gonna help it. But that's
Well, we
another
got
thing. See, now do you? I feel like buying a 4K player or two and just putting them in the freaking back burner and leave them in the box for years because when
yeah.
these ones die, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna be able to watch them?
Well, I've even been told
You
that the
know?
one I thought the PlayStation one was a good, supposedly a good 4K player. I've read things saying it's not all that great. It's it's missing this, that, and other thing that a dedicated 4K player would do. But again, like anything, there's different calibers. And if I got a 4K player, I want one for me. If I got a 4K player, that I just
Oh,
figure, give me everything then. Obviously, we know it's backwards compatible already, but then make it region free. And the second you do that, the price I think the price jumps up because you might have to get um, it like jailbroken in a sense or manipulated to be region free. It's
hmm,
out of the or you have to buy the dedicated ones are like really expensive.
it's crazy, man.
So region
There's
free is
nothing you
only
can.
for the handful of Blu-rays, but there's some really good Blu-rays that they're charging you an arm and a leg for that are region A, but the ones that are locked that are not multi-region or that you can just view or happen to be able to see that are region B from 88 films or whatever it may be, you can get them way cheaper from them comparative to
Hmm.
the region A version. For instance, like Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, readily available from 88 films, but
Right?
totally like jacked up and ridiculous price points, which is very interesting that Scream Factory still not released a 4K set of Sleepaway Camp.
I gotta sell mine. I gotta sell my 2 and 3. They're just sitting there because I have copies too. I burned Blu-ray copies of 'em for myself. See, I can be happy with the burned copy. I have enough on display. I don't need to display every movie. I can
Oh,
make copies of. See, I'm not even opposed to that. I mean, just like streaming. Like if I have confidence in streaming, like 10, 20 years from now, everything was going to be as easy and I was going to be able to get whatever I wanted, I would do it. I don't know that's going to happen. I don't know if like the thing I'm on now, that MB, is going to be around in then. Right now I'm fine. I have everything. Television. I don't pay for cable. I don't pay for freaking. And if I'm streaming movies, I stream movies. And if a live TV football, I don't pay cable. I stream it off of something like the MB. So I'm paying rock bottom prices. Now I have all the stuff now, but is that going to last forever? What am I going to do when if something should go down? We don't know. We don't know the future of streaming. But streaming could go away with rights and everything else. When you had the physical, you had the physical. That's all there is to it. We know this. So it's almost
stream
like,
streaming I don't think is
what are
going to
you going
go
to do?
away. It's the future. It's the licensing of a title that you want that's going to be the
Yeah,
problem.
that's what I mean.
And and
Not
that and
streaming going away, but for like where I'm doing right now with my MB, the prices I'm paying work. It works for me. I don't pay shit. Okay. I need things like this to be freaking available because that's a way to buck the system too. But I don't
well,
want to spend Netflix, Prime,
one of
Hulu,
them just got hit.
Paramount.
Some
This.
huge IPTV just got hit this week and shut down. So
Oh, did they?
they're targeting them. They're targeting all of them. They have been and they will continue to do it. Some of them are like the ones that are difficult are these servings. The ones that are like Ambient Plex where you're just sharing
Yeah,
files.
reaching
But
stuff. Oh, someone else.
yeah,
Yeah.
however, if they're not careful, I'm sure that they can be infiltrated and shut down as well. But
Well, it's legal where
IPTV,
they do it.
yeah,
That's
that's
the
the
difference. Yeah. In their country, it's legal to do that. So no one's doing anything wrong. If the law changes, that's another thing. We don't know. So that's the thing. We don't know what the future holds with stuff like that. But I mean, I guess it's a good problem to have. It's a third world problem, as they like to say, or a first world problem, I should say.
yeah,
Whatever the fuck.
yeah, they love their streaming and Cambodia. I don't even.
Holiday, Cambodia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why was
I don't
that the
know.
first country that popped into my head?
I don't know. Cambodia, he says.
uh, before I know we want to
Guatemala.
talk, this is going to be a very Friday heavy episode, everybody, because we
Yeah.
pushed we
Happy
pushed
Halloween.
vampires. We fucking pushed vampires till till November, and we decided that with the release of Never Hike Alone Part Two, that we would talk about that. But before we get to it, there's a cool thing that Dave did on another show that he thought would be fun for us to do on our show, and I wanted to add a little bit something here too. So
Yes.
the Friday fan films, because I I knew there were a lot. I just don't think everybody realizes how fucking many there are. And this doesn't even I feel like I could keep going. So I tried to do anything that was 5 minutes or over and not include just trailers, fan made trailers. Like I made a fan made trailer. And I've so far, and it took a long time to just by going through YouTube search, I've got about 85 fan made films, Friday fan made
Oh,
films, 85 so far. And I think,
wow.
and that included 13 Fanboy. I popped that in there too, because it really is kind of an offshoot, even though it's not Friday the 13th specific. It's called 13 Fanboy and everything else. So it's there,
Yeah.
and with the alumni and everything. So I'm not saying these are all good. I'm saying that that's how many I've counted, and I'm trying to get
Right.
that to 100 because I want to make a definitive list. And my goal, my challenge to myself, which I never do on this show, is to watch these and review them and to tell you which ones are worth your time and which are not. And I know that everything's subjective and everybody, but that's no different than any review show and any review book. When you bought Leonard Moulton back in the day or the Phantom of the Movies, it was their take on it. And they may have fucking hated the movie you loved. So be it. That's their take. I've had critics that hated Street Trash. I loved it, you know,
Sure. Right.
or other
I'm
ones
with
that
you.
they put on a pedestal that I hated. Or, and again, talking extremes, but 85. I'm not going to list them all here. I mean, we know some of the most popular ones, the ones we're going to be talking about tonight. Never Hike Alone 2, but we also, in preparation for that, watched Never Hike Alone and Never Hike in the Snow. And did you end up watching that Ghost Cut?
Oh yeah, I did. Yep. I did
Okay,
like you said to
cool.
do that.
So cool. So we'll
that
talk about all that a little bit
yeah.
later. Um, and man, I'll just name a handful of them.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, I the Fall of Camp Blood,
Hmm.
Jason Rising, which is good. Jason Rising actually has great production value. Looks good. It's made by the same offshoot people that I did Never Hike Alone. Like I think Womp Stomp is part of it. It's just a different
Okay.
director, different crew. Looks amazing. Sounds amazing. Like these are professionally made fan films. This is the one that had the one real drawback. The one of my only quibbles is the headless Pamela. Barry comes back. So it's Haunted Land, and she comes out to bring Jason back from the dead. But they also have a regular Pamela in there. The regular Pamela is fine. It's just the headless one that's wandering around that I'm not fond of. But other than
Wait
that,
a minute.
it's yeah, you heard it right. Yeah.
Hold on. So this a person walking around without a head?
Yes.
It's
So
it's a,
they
it's a
they
real
explain it.
person
They
or a
explain it like,
ghost?
well, it's a makeup effect, but I mean, they explain it like, is she, because of the sacred grounds or the haunted grounds of Crystal Lake, and Jason coming back and this connection with his mom, her physical, Pamela's physical dead body comes out of the ground. Now, because he has her severed head, it's this headless corpse that comes out of the ground, and then she pulls Jason out from his grave. It sounds much cheesier. It is silly. Like I told you, it's a part that I don't like, but it's one little aspect of this 52-minute fan film that, other than that, like everything else about this is good for the most part.
Wow. Okay.
It's got the obligatory cameo at the end from somebody, and so you're either going to like that or not like it based on Friday the 13th mythos. And but other again, in my opinion, thoroughly enjoyable. Just that Pamela running around with no head is a little off-putting for me, but still
But
really cool.
is it a human being? Or is it like somebody that, when I'm picturing Pamela without a head, is it a computer effect or is it a person hiding their head doing a thing?
It's like it looks like a physical effect, like physical makeup effect.
So it's a person then.
Practical makeup is what I meant.
So it is
Practical
a
makeup effect. Well,
okay.
it's or a dummy, but it's not digital.
Okay. I'm curious. All right.
Like, you know how they used to do special effects back in the day?
Yeah. Well, but
Like, what
what
are
you say they show it walking around. So how can it be a
Yeah,
dummy?
yeah. Well, you're right. True, true.
Yeah.
So I think in that case, it was just clever editing and possibly the old head in the shirt gag. But
Okay.
you won't have a problem with the head in the shirt gag. It's more just whether or not you could accept her walking around. But I'm telling you, production value top notch.
Nice.
Great. I went through everything because I talk about title cards, like a great look, great production value, cinematography, mood, editing, all music, all top notch. Great title card, good acting. That's gonna sink your fan film right out of the gate. And this was decent acting across the board. For instance, The Fall of Camp Blood, which is also 52 minutes, takes place after part four, but is horrible acting and not really great filmmaking.
Yeah.
They do have some shockingly, the night stuff looked better than the day stuff. The day stuff was all overexposed, just didn't really look very good. The interior footage is okay. The sound's all right. Music cues are lifted right from the films. Looks like they took like the La La soundtracks and just, put them in accordingly. The Jason looked pretty good in The Fall of Camp Blood, uh, especially when he's bloody and at night. And it's more slashery than the Never Hike Alone movies with more kills, but there's not really good gore or effects, and there's a bad guitar playing moment
Okay.
that was put in. So like you could kind of avoid that one. But Jason Rising, I would say definitely check out if you're a fan of all of them.
Cool.
Here's the other one now. I haven't checked all these out. There's another one, My Special Boy, 69 minutes. Roseblood, 91 minutes. I think I watched that one way back when. Friday the 13th, No Man's Land, 52. Friday the 13th, Part 10 to Hell and Back, 83. Friday the 13th, Blood in the Water, 65 minutes. Camp Forest Green, 29 minutes. His name was Jason, not the documentary, 83 minutes. Here Comes the Night, Part 1, 2, and 3. Friday the 13th, Vengeance, 94 minutes. Vengeance Part 2, an hour and 45. I've talked about those films. Those were big releases as well. And if I remember, I didn't rewatch them for this show, but they looked really good. But I had a problem of way too long
Yep.
and some bad acting, but they looked great if I remember. If I remember. Friday the 13th, Part 3, Jason's Revenge, 70 minutes. The Man in the Lake, 41 minutes. Victim No More, 40 minutes. Just Another Friday, 37 minutes. And I watched this one. This was a high school production or a group of friends that got together. It was
Right.
cheap, no production value whatsoever, bad audio, no lighting, some decent editing at the end climax. I got to give it to them when I can give it to them. But the acting was bad almost throughout. There's one character that was all right at the end. I said this is a movie you'd make on a weekend with your friends. It's not worth anybody's time. Drone shot check. That seems to be almost a guarantee for any fan film. Cheap hockey mask in this case. Check. It was that Ruby's hockey mask that you see. That's typically $5 or $10 online. Chintzy title card. Next to no blood at all. Lots of splatter noises though, sound effects. Jason wears like ripped jeans, some cut off gloves, and designer boots. So it's like you could
No
tell it was
jacket?
just, well, yeah, like a zip up black jacket with you could just tell that this was just a group of friends having fun. I'm not trying to shit on them, but the movie
Right.
was not good.
Right. So be it.
So could avoid. I'll just name a handful of more because I said it was going to be that many, and here I go. Friday the 13th, Origin of Evil, 50 minutes. Origin of Evil 2, 22 minutes. Voorhees, that was another big one, if I remember correctly, 99 minutes. Friday the 13th, The Awakening. Freddy versus Jason, Dreamscape. And Voorhees, Night of the Beast. This is the last one I'll talk about until we get into our official reviews or do what you want to do next. This one was 61 minutes. I watched it. Voorhees, Night of the Beast. You heard it right. Crappy title card. Drone shot. Check. Okay filmmaking. I said it had some focus and blocking issues, but good enough sound, good editing, some great nighttime scenes, decent enough acting. Some were definitely better than others, and shockingly, there were some boobs, which
Huh,
I was shocked. So in Friday the
yeah.
13th, early Friday the 13th tradition, they kept it alive. Some all right kills, an okay looking Jason. Looks like he was modeled after part 7. So he had all that war damage from part 7 and before the look of part 9. The weirdest part of this movie is Bigfoot's in it too.
That's
Yes, Bigfoot is in it too. Jason Goes to Hell on Friday, and Jason Lives mythos are mixed in with this original take that uses like Aboriginal Native symbolism and history, which was interesting actually. So I kind of give him credit for that.
yeah.
And there's a younger Creighton Duke who's learning his and that's the guy who plays Creighton Duke actually fits the bill. It was actually quite good. And even though I'm not a fan of part 9, and neither are you, I liked how they built his character, and he works with the native character there to learn about this backstory and everything else. And they're really hunting the Bigfoot character, but gets his run in with Jason and realizes that he has to dedicate his life to hunting Jason. So I thought that was interesting take. That was probably
Yeah.
the best thing. They make a couple of lines of dialogue were fun, where they say that everything that happened, like Manhattan and a few other things, were all copycats based on Roy. So Roy started the copycat tradition, and Jason Takes Manhattan never existed and was a copycat. That's sort of their take. There's a Never Hike Alone reference. The
Huh.
movie definitely could have used better music and sound effects. And unfortunately, when you get to the climax of Jason versus Bigfoot, it's as silly and as badly staged as you imagine, and the movie just kind of falls apart. But they put that capper, I mean, there's just some death that happens right there. It's not well orchestrated, unfortunately. Um, I guess if you are starved for a fan film, you could watch it, but it's kind of a miss. Or if you like the idea of the Creighton Duke aspect, check it out. But that's about it. That's where I'll leave it now. But that's just to go to show you some of them. Like I couldn't believe it, and there's way more. As I told you, 85 I've counted so
Wow.
far.
Damn. That's crazy. I
That's
never watch
crazy.
any. I watched Alex's, of course, 9 Lives. And
I've watched that one as well, not recently though, so I will rewatch that one too, and I'll
uh
give it a fair rating, Alex. I'm gonna have to be honest, so don't skew me or kill me if I don't like it or whatever. I
no.
remember it having some decent components to it because again, all of these are made by fans, and
Right.
so you want to tread lightly. You don't want to shit on someone's dream, but I'm just trying to be open and honest when a movie is going to be worth your time or not. And again, it's my opinion if it's worth your time or not.
Yeah,
Ultimately, make the decision yourself if you're that interested.
for sure.
So
Chasing
now let's get to what you wanted to do.
What do I want to do? Let's see here. I'll tell you one thing. Quick point. How come there aren't any sci-fi comedies? Do you ever think about that? I was just thinking about that now.
Brother
I
from
was
Another Planet. That's the only one that I think I could think of. I don't even know where I
well,
pulled that one out of. Robert, isn't that Robert Townsend from like the 80s?
maybe. I'm saying there's probably a couple
Where
sporadic
did
things
that come from? Yeah, but you're
because I
right.
was thinking about how many horror comedies there are. And horror and sci-fi are kind of similar genres in a way. You know what I mean? And they're genre type movies. Why did horror become the one that there's all kinds of comedy in? And right, and there's not a whole lot of
True.
goofy stuff.
Galaxy Quest, like, is another one that comes to mind. But you're right. I mean, I have to think hard on that. They've realized that, like, I guess, like tragedy and comedy, that it goes together from an early age. And I think they just, before it became a line here and there for comic relief, and then it became, hey, this is,
Fine.
we could build upon this. Whether you like it or not, that's probably where, it all started from. And uh, some people will see comedy in the most horrific things as well. So I
Yeah,
guess it also can stem from that. But
yeah, I feel you. So what we did was we put our okay. So we just did it last Friday. And what happened was I was on a mom and pop video shop, which is Joel and Tyson, Gilman Joel from what do you call it? Jay the Dead's new horror movies. And it was me and him and then it was four of us, and then Greg Mortis from Land of the Creeps. And we were on that one. And they said,
Thanks for the invite, guys. I'm
if they
joking.
only knew you better, but they're going to soon. We're gonna have somebody on the show. But that's soon. So the thing is, I so they said we want to do a thing where you rank the you know rank and do a live stream and rank the final girls. Like, okay, that'll be easy. So that's fine. So I had the idea. Okay, whatever, we'll do that. That'll be fun. And then they kind of made it more so. It wasn't just the final girls. It was final girls in what is the exact the survivors they called it.
The
Ranking the
survivors.
survivors was their
Ranking the survivors. Wow.
right. All
Whoopsie.
the survivors. So they sent a list. They said, okay, here's this, this, and this. They did it much like we did for when we added up our top 200 or our top 100, all that stuff. And you give the most points to your highest thing. And then there was a group thing from the four of us.
Oh my
And then
God.
everything did their thing. So, we all had our stuff. So we end up with, let me see how many it was exactly. See, I got to find where the hell I even put it. Where
I
are
think you had
these?
25 on your list that you sent me.
It was 25. Okay,
Yeah.
let's.
I added to it a little bit. Just a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit, but more for
20, it was 25. I discovered that they forgot to add Toby. So it became 26, but it wasn't an official thing.
yeah.
So I thought,
That's interesting. Yeah.
Christian and I together, if I gave him the same list, I'm curious as to what his thoughts were, because ultimately it was
I'll add
Friday the
Toby.
13th survivors.
Yeah.
So I ranked accordingly. Because they had everybody in there. I mean, I'll read them off, not in order. Well, let me see what the thing says that I basically sent you, and it'll say everything that's on there. So let's see here. I'll do a quick thing. This is what qualified. This is who qualified.
Interesting.
Okay, so here's who qualified.
Okay.
Tommy Jarvis from Part 6, Ginny, Alice, Chris, Megan Garris from Part 6, Reggie the Reckless from Part 5, Tommy Jarvis from Part 5, Ted from Part 2, because he didn't die, he's a survivor apparently,
Yeah.
Stephen Freeman, Jason Goes to Hell, Laurie Campbell, that was Monica on Freddy vs. Jason, Will from Freddy vs. Jason, Tina from Part 7, Rennie from Part 8, KM14 from Jason X, Whitney from the remake, Ham from Part 5, Clay from the remake, Tommy Jarvis, the other one, Part 5.
Feldman one. You said part 5, I think already. I think it
Yeah,
does matter. All three
yeah.
Tommies.
All three Tommies, bottom line. So okay, Nick from Part 7,
Nick
Rowan
the
from
Dig.
Jason X, Jim from Part 8, Jessica Kimball from Jason Goes to Hell, Sunaran from Jason X. I guess he's the guy that built
Yeah.
KM.
Yep.
And Muffin the dog from Friday 2.
You know what? You
And
know what they forgot though. Did you mention Jessica Kimball and Stephen Freeman? Did you mention them? Oh,
yeah.
I noticed they forgot Deputy Rick Cologne.
Yeah, I guess he did, which we're going to talk about after. You're right.
Yeah.
He did
So
forget. I can't remember him dying in Part 6, so he
no, he
must have.
doesn't die. He's locked in the police cell, and so he's saved by being locked in that police cell. And although there's TV, if anybody's ever seen the TV cut of Part 6, there's actually added footage of him trying to get the keys back. I think I talked about it when we did our Friday retro, where he's got a jacket, or he's using his jacket, he's trying to get his keys, but I don't believe he ever gets out of the cell. It was just this added sequence that, of course, was cut out of the theatrical version that we all know.
Wow. See, I was
So,
thinking,
yeah,
because I'm watching Never Hike Alone and everything in part 2 and 3, whatever you want to call them. And, Rick Cologne's involved. And I'm thinking, so this might change my attitude about. So what you can say is this: Deputy Rick Cologne, who's in the jail cell when they do the whole switcheroo,
Yeah.
he doesn't know anything that actually transpires. So he doesn't see any of the kills.
He does
He
though.
doesn't.
He's seen the person all torn apart. He goes, "Remember, Happy
Oh,
Friday the 13th." He sees those the
no, I
hikers.
understand that,
Oh
but he hasn't seen Jason ever.
no, so he still thinks it could be Tommy, which is
So he
why
thinks,
the movies we're going to be talking about later
well, that's
tonight
what I
makes
had a problem. We'll get to
yeah.
when we get to it, but I was having a problem watching and saying, wait a minute, didn't he see Sheriff Garris get killed by it? And didn't he see the other cop get killed? What scary man. That guy, I was imagining he was there and what happened to him. And it's like, okay, so I guess it does kind of make sense now. Well, that kind of helps Never Hike Alone, the other ones then. We'll get to it when we get to it. But okay, Deputy Rick, I forgot about him. So,
So I added
um,
him to the list. I was shocked that well, yeah, I wasn't shocked because you said they're not as big Friday fans as we are.
well,
So
right.
I mean, I'm sure I even went through and I said, did we leave anybody? I put other ones down, but they're more for comedic value based on who my last person is on my list as well. So and Gordon is not on the list because in my mind, Gordon died.
Well, Gordon wasn't on the list anyway.
Yeah. Well, I didn't go by what they put on the list because they missed people. I was thinking, should I add if Muffin's on there? You like you said, they forgot Toby. And there's a few other things that should be mentioned, I think. But again, I added them for comedic value. So I've got 29 now in total.
Well, I guess I'll listen to your. Well, I can't listen to your bottom nine. Well, I guess I can. I guess I
That's
can
fine.
listen to your
Well,
bottom
we're going to
four.
start. We're going to
Or
start. Well, we're going to start at the bottom, or we're going to start at the top
I don't know. Whatever you want to do is fine. I'm fine
because
with either one.
I think. Well, I mean, again, for funny purposes, I think it's good to start from the top. I think
Okay.
what everybody. I think you and I probably have the same number one, and so I mean, do you want to get? Do you want to jump right into it?
Oh, we can do that. Why not? Yeah, we can talk about 1 to 20, whatever.
Yeah. Well, let's
Okay.
do it that way since I've got the extra there. It only makes sense. So,
True.
um, what's your number one, Dave?
You know what my number one is. You
Yeah,
don't have
same with
to.
me.
Jenny.
Jenny. Yeah,
All
Amy
right.
Steele, of course.
Hey. All right. She won, by the way. So she was almost everybody's number one.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
that's
all.
I mean, I still say that I prefer slightly prefer Friday the 13th part 1. I mean, they're neck and neck as a slasher film, but Ginny
Right.
is still the better final girl.
Yep. Better chase scene, better final
Yeah.
girl,
Well,
more
they
going
upped
on.
it. They took the blueprint and then just upped it for a more exciting climax.
Right. So there you go. That's easy. Okay. Now, number two, I already know we're going to have a different answer here.
Well, just based on what I said, I think I blew my load already. But um, do you want me to go first, or do you want to take this?
Go. Go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Alice, Adrian
All
King.
right. My
Yeah.
number
Now,
two.
but the asterisks, a survivor from part 1, because I was like, what? She's a survivor. She dies in part 2
Well,
at the beginning, but we took it as survivor. I took it from how you
she's a
laid it out,
final
the
girl.
rules. She's a final
Right.
girl. So
She is a
Alice,
final girl.
number 2. Sorry, go ahead.
My number two. It's not Alice.
Chris.
So who do you? It is Chris.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, because that's the one
Yep.
that got you into the series.
Yeah. Well,
It,
there's more going on with her. There's just her chase is incredible, her everything that goes on with that, but she has more of a background where she had encountered Jason once before. Half the movie of part three was about her coming to terms with what happened in her past and her being scared and this. So
yeah.
so much of it was surrounded about on her. Where Alice, which I'm not saying anything against Alice, I love Alice too. I'm just saying that there's not as much meat on the bone with the Alice character, and even in the final chase, as there is Chris. Chris seems like it. She overcame a lot more to me. You know,
Absolutely.
that's why. That's why she's my two.
And that's
So
why she's my 3.
there. Well, there you go. And that's why Alice is my three. So at
There it's
least
like, yeah.
at least the three of us have the three movies, and this is how the show worked too. The top three, the best thing about them all, what do they all have in common? Those three. Can you tell me?
Well,
It's
they're
really
the original 3.
well, yeah, okay. Besides the fact that
So,
they're the original, something
uh,
else about their movies and just in general what they go through. What differs from their three
Oh,
movies?
they're the only three final girls.
Right.
Yeah.
Final.
I
They're
mean,
actually final girls by themselves, scared.
what's his face pops up, Paul, but doesn't really do anything.
Right.
It's done by that point, really.
It's
The
the
chiss
final
has already
chase with
happened.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yes, all that stuff is, and the confrontation and everything. So that makes perfect. Just goes to show you that not everybody wants all those extra add-ons and freaking, all of a sudden kids and boyfriends and this and that and who knows who. I can't remember how Creighton Duke got killed, but I know he's
Uh,
dead.
he
You
got
know,
his back cracked.
I have
I thought
no
it was gonna they're
recollection.
gonna go for a folding, but they
Uh,
he got his back cracked instead.
I, I remember so little about that. I even forgot that the girl they were talking about in part 9. Well, we'll get to it. Anyway, that's 1, 2, and 3. So who's your 4? This is going to be interesting.
Trish, because
Oh,
I love the movie, and I feel like she gets to a level of insanity that is not, you can't be alive, but it's almost right there. It's like with Chris, like the insanity that she gets, and she gets chased, she dives out a window, she
yeah.
fights Jason back, like she fights him. Yeah, Tommy's
Yeah.
the one that slices off his mask, but she slices him down on the hand there, hits
Yep.
him across the chest. Like she does a lot. Little Tommy just sort of finishes the job, but she went through all the trauma.
I agree with that. It's not the same number. She is not my number 4. My number 4, it's because I've respected this final chase so much more over the years. It's like the best part of the movie. But everything that she goes through and the way she takes it to Jason is what I love, and it's Tina. Tina in part 7, man. I
Oh
love that
wow.
freaking climax and that fight with her and Jason. She goes through all that shit that movie, but then in the end, she gives it to Jason like no one ever has. That's what I like about her. It's she's freaking
Except for
bouncing him
Bigfoot
out,
in the one I saw.
you
Just
know.
kidding.
So I do love Tina. So she came up a little,
Wowzers.
yeah.
That's shocking to me. That is shocking to me. But that's what I love about this. This is that I'm surprised, man.
Think
Holy
about
smoke.
it though.
No, I know
Yeah.
what you're saying, but I'm also basing it on the portrayal and the movie, to be honest, because it all fits in. If it wasn't for Tina, Jason wouldn't have come back to life anyway, too. Fucker. Uh-oh. Are you frozen?
Wow. Her and Tommy. Right. Okay. So then you froze, so that means I probably froze on your end. Who knows?
Yeah.
So now, so my number 4 was Teen. Okay, who's your 5?
My number 5 is Megan Garris and Jennifer Cook. Hey, you know I love part 6.
So
I
who's
know
your number
you're
5?
Megan Garris. I just
Yeah.
said it. Oh, I must have froze again. Why is this happening again? Damn it. What is with today? I mean, I know my son's been streaming all morning, so it might be that. But Megan Garris, part 6, Jason Lives. I know, you know, I love it. I know you don't that much. I'm repeating myself in case that didn't transfer through on the recording. But ultimately, again, I think she helps Tommy. She goes through a lot of the fight herself too. And I've always liked her. I was always like when I was younger, I was attracted to her, and I just
Hmm.
think it's a great climax too.
Yeah, I
Excuse
do
me.
like her. Sure, man. I do like her. So I was only off by 1 then, because for me, my number 5 was Trish. So,
Oh,
you know,
okay,
yeah, I mean, I just
cool.
happen to like Tina more for the reasons I said. So, so yeah, Trish is number 5. So far, everybody's been named by both of us. Oh no, they haven't. Okay, who's your number 6?
My number 6 is, well, Tommy from part 6, Tom Matthews. I've danced around with this because of the fact that I really do I actually didn't like Tommy in part 5, even though I liked that movie. I always thought that his portrayal was just so monotone and whatever. I mean, he only has what, a handful of lines, but I've grown to really like him. But Tommy from
Mhm.
part 6, when I was a kid, I just like from the get go, he was driven to destroy Jason's corpse right out of the gate. So you come at right out of the gate, there was like a reason for this to happen. Yeah, it gets a little silly with the resurrection and whatever, but I also love that as well. So he had like pretty much for the whole movie a reason to be doing what he's doing. So even though he started it, he had to finish it there. So I've always liked him, and so I put him as my number six.
Right on. Okay. Well, my number six is also Tommy, but not that Tommy. My number six is from the final chapter. The Corey Feldman. Because
The
let's
Feld.
face it,
Yeah,
he killed Jason. He's the only one that actually does kill Jason.
it's very, it's true.
You
Well,
know,
yeah, I mean, he always keeps coming back, but I get what
but
you're
still,
saying.
he put him in the grave. He
This is the
freaking
one. You're right. He put him in the grave.
if the dumbass other Tommy didn't come along and do what he did, that would be the end of it. So I mean, it's freaking that's my issue. But Tommy Jarvis in part 4 does it all. Does the whole shaves the head, this and that, distracts him, comes up with so much shit. Yeah, man, I think he's great.
True. I may have to shift my 7 and 8 around, but
See?
as of right now, my 7 is Reggie the Reckless, and the reason for it, I don't care if this is so high. The reason for it is think of what he does in that movie. I know it's fake Jason, but think of what he does in the movie. He pretty much kills Roy. He does pretty much everything to save Pam, who's practically useless, to then get it to him for Tommy just to finish it off at the end, really. But Reggie the Reckless is actually the hero of that movie.
Interesting. I'll have to pay attention more to that next time. Wow. So your 7 is Reggie the Reckless.
Yeah.
Wow. Fuck. We have quite different lists here. This is good. My number 7 is probably going to be surprising, but it's Rowan from Jason X.
Wow. That's higher than I expected too, but cool.
Well,
Cool.
she kicks ass. She gets out.
Does.
She is hyper focused. She wakes up from the freaking cryo thing and she comes out and says, "Hey, listen, where's Jason?" Right away, she's on top of it. Where's Jason? And if you did something, you got to stop Jason. And she is relentless the whole
Yeah.
movie. She's tough. There's no BS about her, and she does what she has to do. And that to me is what a final girl should do. I think she is very quality. I think she's very overlooked in this franchise, and she's also pretty beautiful on top of it.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
nothing wrong with that. So there you go, Rowan.
Oh, my number 8 is Tommy Jarvis Feldman. The Feldman Tommy Jarvis. Like you said, all the same things, but he kind of just figures it all out. He's really just there along for the show. And then at the end, looks at a few newspaper clippings, decides that he's got to shave his head to look like this kid to distract Jason. But then he does the unmasking and the final blow and final blows to put him in his grave, as you said. Probably should switch with Reggie the Reckless, but oh well.
Hey,
I set my list.
here's what's funny. Once again, you have Tommy and I have Tommy. And my Tommy at number 8 this time is John Shepard. I really like John Shepard's role in there. I think to me, that seems like more like what somebody is supposed to look like after they've been through the trauma and they spent time and, focusing on this and having mental issues apparently as a result. And he's very patient and he kicks ass. The couple times he gets freaking messed with, threatened, that one guy with the mask on and later on with Junior, he freaking throws down, man. There's no BS. He's uptight, but at the same time, he still finds a way to befriend Reggie after he tries to mess with him and stuff. And yes, he's quiet, but he doesn't bother anybody, man. He's just freaking trying to live his life and do his stuff. And at the end, yeah, he does kill Jason and he's tough. He comes in there and he freaking faces him off. And, it's not really Jason, but still, in his mind, it was. So
He kills Jason because
he-
Reggie the Reckless jumps out and goes, "Rah!" and it pushes him so that he has a chance to do it. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
Reggie the Reckless for the win.
I guess you're right. I got to pay more attention to that next time. Okay.
Drives
there you
that
go.
tractor to hit him, even though Jason could have gotten out of the way like 5 times over to save Pam, who's doing absolutely nothing. But having said all that, Pam's my number 9 because she goes through a hell of a lot. And there's a big chase.
Yeah.
It's a huge chase, reminiscent, even though there are other people alive. We know Tommy's about. They're still playing around with where is he? Can it be him? It really can't be, but they're still kind of goofing around with that aspect of it. And you see Reggie the Reckless, they got separated. So there is a bit of a final chase. She screams with the best of them. Like she screams more than probably any of them. She really earned Scream Queen if you're looking from the Friday the 13th standpoint. There's more scream per second, I think, in that climax than in the rest of the movies. And so, I still like her. I mean, she tries to take that chainsaw. She gives him a run for its money. But again,
Yes.
thank God for Reggie to help out.
Good call. Well, yeah, good call though on Pam. I like Pam too. My number 9 is Megan. So there you go.
Nice.
She's
Cool.
yep. She still makes my top 10. She's tough. She's focused. She's a pretty girl, smart, and a little too concerned with just trying to get off and hook up with Tommy. But when it gets right down to it, she does a good job and she actually saves Tommy at the end. So Megan's good.
And to round out my top 10, I've got Tommy Jarvis, John Shepard. So
Oh,
he's there. So I think our top 10, other than you not having Reggie, is, oh, I don't know what your 10th one is, but Tommy Jarvis, John Shepard is my top 10. I still, like I said, I've grown to like it. And he's going through a lot of trauma there. That's where we really do get the real visions of Jason is through him.
mhm.
And that was all to kind of transition him to be the new killer, which
Right.
we know they didn't. And you can question whether Pam lives or not at the end of part 5. But again, because it's left out a cliffhanger, we don't see her die. She's a
True.
survivor.
True. So we don't know. And speaking of Pam, that's my number 10. So there you go.
Yeah. Wow.
Right in there. So our top tens,
Other
they're a
than
lot alike. They're a
two,
lot
two were different. Yeah.
Yes. I have Tina and I have Rowan. And you have Tommy from Jason Lives. And what's the other one you have that I don't?
Tommy from Jason Lives and Reggie the Reckless.
Reggie. Yeah. Yeah. How about that? Who would have thought that? Okay. Number
Everybody
11.
else. Uh, my number 11 is more like I just love the fact that when you really think about it, this guy might be living with the most trauma of them all. Well, not maybe of them all, but Ted. I put Ted in there because this guy, his friends, he went to camp and everybody there got murdered, and he's hanging out at an after hours bar with a couple of other people that went out and they got drunk and they come back and their friends are dead. Their camp is dead. He probably doesn't have a job for the summer now. I mean,
Yeah.
think about what he had to live with going forward. So
No shit.
it's just an interesting survivor because he's the first one that I put that really doesn't have a run-in with Jason at all. So that's a bit of a cop up. Maybe he should be lower for that reason, but because of the movie and the way they did it, and so matter of factly is that jokester left
Right.
and survived.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah,
And you like him. If you didn't like the
yeah.
character, you wouldn't have him so high. That's what it's about. Who do you like? So I get that, man. I get you. Okay, my number 11 is Lori from Freddy vs. Jason.
Nice.
Does a good job as a final girl, takes it to him. She had a lot to overcome. She had a lot of history. Seriously, she had quite the challenge in that movie. And she was very strong in the climax of it. So yeah, pretty solid, man.
Well,
Pretty
yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, my number 12, I went with Whitney Miller, Amanda
wow.
Rigetti. And the reason for it is I'm also apologist
The remake? Yeah,
for the remake. I like it. I don't know, people shit on it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. And okay, I get that really for the majority, like she's there at the beginning, essentially gets kidnapped, but then her fight at the end is pretty cool. And the chase at the end is decent. So I give her a lot of credit there as well. And I like the head fake and thinking that it might be this other girl that's the final girl, and no, it ends up being her. So
wait a
that's why
minute.
people might rate her lower. But
Yeah,
I
that whole
like the
thing
fact
always confuses me. I never know which girl is which. Is the kidnapped girl the final girl, or is it the other girl that was hanging out with the boyfriend that cheated and then he went off and then
the
they
kidnapped
look
girl,
too much alike to me.
the kidnapped girl's the final girl. The other girl's the one that gets the machete through her, the one that's at the party that hooks
Okay.
up with the boyfriend and whatever.
Okay. All right. See, that still confuses me. Well, this is 12, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, my number 12 is Ted. We just talked about him. So there you
Nice.
go. Yeah, so we're both high on Ted, and we should be. Ted's great. So good on him.
I'm going to try to speed this up a bit. 13 is Rowan. So I agree. I agree. She's super
Oh,
attractive. And again,
cool.
like Tommy Jarvis from part 6, has this run in with Jason from the get go. And it's like always on her mind that we've got to destroy this unstoppable monster.
Right. No, she's solid. She's solid. My number 13, see, I wasn't too low on him. Reggie the Reckless.
Ah, okay. Lucky
Yeah, so
13.
yeah, man. So I'll give Reggie some props. He's okay. I don't like that they felt the need to include a kid again, so that kind of strikes against him, but whatever. Reggie's fine.
Yeah, I know you're not fond of the kids, but hey, I liked it. I always loved it. It's still the sleaziest Friday the 13th as well.
True.
Crazy. My 14, Laurie Campbell. So Monica Kenner.
Ah,
Again,
there you
yeah,
go. Pretty
she
close.
yeah, she has to fight off two Titans at that. And it's a lot of fun, and she's good. I really liked her in that movie. I really wish they did the follow up, but what could you do?
Right. No, I hear you. Okay, my number 14 is this is probably the first one we differ the most on. I don't know where you had this person high up, but uh, 14 for me is Tommy Jarvis from part 6. And I'm down on him. He's okay. He's in the middle because he does what he's supposed to do, but he's still I don't like the portrayal of Tommy Jarvis from 4 to 5 to be this person in 6 who's like more like a high school quarterback than somebody who's freaking has mental issues. And the biggest problem of all is the fact that if it wasn't for his dumbass who killed Jason so many years ago, he was dead and buried. He just had to freaking go there and dig him up for no good reason. And then
Why'd you
everybody
dig him
dies
up?
in this. Yeah, and everybody dies in this movie because of this guy's freaking obsession. So he is solely responsible for the death. Not solely Jason too, of course, but he is responsible. If he doesn't get involved, none of those people die in 6. So he screws everything up. I don't like the fact that they make him a freaking Dr. Loomis type character in this movie. He's got to be returned to Crystal Lake. He's got to go where he came from. It doesn't matter that this is Forest Green. It's still Crystal Lake to him. These are his woods. I read these occult books and I know everything about Jason now. It's just a little weak. But you stole my 14, so there's still good stuff about him.
And he's a fan favorite, so that you can't argue against because any portrayal of Tommy thereafter, it's him.
Yeah.
No one wants Corey Feldman. No one wants it. Corey Feldman wants Corey Feldman to come
I
back
would have
to fight
loved it.
Jason, but nobody else wants that. Everybody, if anything, like any fan film predicts, like it's been Tom Matthews. I think Corey still thinks he's got a chance of being asked to come back for that. It's never going to happen unless in a fan film.
I wish he
That's just the
would.
reality of it.
I'd love to see
Uh,
Corey Feldman do the Tommy Jarvis again.
Number 15, because I'm just looking at our time here. We got man,
Oh,
this is
we're both
it's
fine.
number 15, Clay Miller. So the guy from the Friday 13th remake. Again, I like he kind of plays the oh, why did I forget his name? The guy from part 2 that is looking part
Are you
4.
thinking of Rob Dyer from
Yeah,
part
Rob
4?
Dyer, the Rob Dyer character in this,
Yep.
and since he's looking for his sister, he's really not trying to start any trouble. But these punk ass kids are kind of assholes, and that's why I like how he develops a relationship with that one girl, gets to the camp. It's just like he's driven, and I like him, and yeah. So I put him higher than a lot of the original Paramount era people.
Yeah. He's a good guy. I do like him. I'll give him that. I like him. I have issues with something else when I get to it, but my number 15 is Will from Freddy vs. Jason. I think he does a good job. He's dedicated to Laurie. He escapes the freaking asylum. He's focused. You know what I mean? He's a pretty strong character throughout, considering all he has to go through. So as far as guys are concerned, that isn't Tommy Jarvis. He's pretty solid.
Well, here's my number 16. I put him one notch
Oh,
below Clay because I think Clay did a better job. But you're right. Everything you said, I mirror. So number 16, Will Rollins.
and my number 16 is Nick
Nick the
from
Dick. I'm sorry.
yeah, Nick the Dick from part 7. Just by
Yeah.
order of default, because people that are below him are worse, and I'll tell you why when I get to him. But whatever. I could take him or leave him, but here's where we are, number 16, Nick.
Yeah, he's okay. 17 for me is KM14. I mean, I know she's a robot. I know she gets shit on, but hey, she's got nipples. And at the same token, she kicks some ass. Yeah, and
Yeah,
maybe can be solely responsible for giving us Uber Jason in a sense by
yeah.
kicking so much ass. But you know what? People just shit on Jason X, and I think she's fun.
That's fair. That's fair. Uh, 17 for me is Steven. So he's the guy from part 9.
Yeah,
He's good though. I mean, he's dedicated his daughter and everything else, the baby, and lets the guy break his fingers in jail to freaking,
yeah.
to get information. So I mean, he has a good heart. So he's fine.
Well, I'm right there with you. I mean, he does more. He does more than Jessica. Jessica just does the final kick, and that was only because of a story
Right.
structure that George of our Voorhees had to kill a Voorhees or whatever it would be. But he's the one that gets like tossed around like a rag doll and does all the fighting. He's the one that goes through the more trauma that like really Jessica's not introduced until halfway through the movie.
True. You're right. Good call.
So
So that's
that's it.
17 for me,
Mine was 18.
right?
We're on 18. Yeah, that was my 18.
Oh wait, Steven was your 18?
Yeah,
And he was my 17. So you just picked
yeah.
it up. Okay, I got you. Well, speaking of her, my number 18 is Jessica, who she's just the best of what's around, I guess, because she gives it the death blow and everything else. But nothing about her really interests me in the movie. But I mean, she does do that thing at the end. So we're getting to slim pickings now. But yeah.
No, I hear you. And my 19 is Tina Larpark. I mean,
Wow.
I mean, I get it. She kicks his ass. She's got
Yeah.
telekinesis that seems to be able to raise the dead and TVs. It's the silliness. I'm not a fan of the movie, but she does kick Jason's ass. But she
Yeah.
also brings him back to life. So if you shit on Tommy for doing it, then again, like there's a reason to shit on her for doing it as well.
I forget
So
about that. But
a
you're right.
part of it is the movie itself, and my issues with the movie and her fart face.
Okay.
She's a very attractive woman, but she just looks like she's about to fart in every scene in the movie.
That's funny. I love that, the fart face. Okay, my number 19 is Jim, who was the other guy in freaking the final in part 8. The kid
Yeah.
whose father drives the boat, who we don't know about. We know he has some issues with his father busted his balls, but he just kind of becomes a love interest and he's just kind of there at the end and doesn't do a whole hell of a lot. But that's Jim.
Well, you know what? I got Jim
Except
there
for
too.
you, listen to
I got
me.
I got Jim as well. And to be honest, so I got Jim
Oh,
as 20. So he's my number 20.
nice.
And the reason for it is he at
Okay.
least he at least tries to fight. He at least lost someone and something. His dad got killed. He found his
Mm-hmm.
dead body. They go after Jason. I mean, we're not talking strong characters here, but at least he fucking does something. So yeah, my number 20, Jimbo. Well, Jim,
Cool. Right. Okay.
not Jimbo.
Jimbo.
Jimbo's dead.
Oh, he got corkscrewed. Right.
Yeah.
Tad. Yeah. Number 20, KM14. Whatever.
Okay.
Take it or leave it. I don't like the
Yeah.
fact that there's a robot. I don't like what happens because she's responsible for Jason becoming Uber Jason, which I can't stand that look. And the whole thing with the nipples sliding and stuff, it's a little too much for me. But whatever. She does kick some ass. So there you go.
My 21 again. I think I just put this here by default since at this point. Who gives a fuck? But what's his name? Chuck Campbell's character, Tisserand or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Saranin, whatever his name is.
Serrano or whatever. Yeah, like I mean, I like him in the movie. He's fine. He makes KM14. He's fine, just kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
Like I forgot he
Yes.
survived. To be honest, I saw him on the
Me
list,
too.
but to be honest, although there's like some other more memorable characters, he at least was in the fight and part of the attack, and I like him better than who the rest of the ones here.
No, that's fair. Okay, so 21, Rennie. You know, whatever. She's boring as shit. The movie. I just she's just so bland and boring to me for a
Yeah.
final girl. So she's like for the final girls that actually survive, she is my lowest rated one. So there you have it.
Well, more on that later.
Yeah.
My number 22 is Nick. Again, I feel bad. He's stuck in that same bad movie. There's not much for him to do. He gets tossed around by Jason too. He really doesn't do much.
Right.
Kind of shields her from the explosion of the house, and that's really it. And it's yeah. And then he wakes up going, Jason, or whatever. I don't know. And then like,
Jason.
I, yeah, in the
Jason.
two-person ambulance, and I don't know. Just kind of forgetful.
Oh, that's great. Jason. Oh,
We
that's
took care
awesome.
of him. You didn't do anything. We.
Yeah. Wait, what'd you do? Right. We took care of him, taking credit. That's great.
Well, actually, she said we took care of him, I think. But anyway,
Oh, okay. She
but
did.
still, my joke's not
Right.
as funny that way.
Right. 22 Saranan, whatever his name is. Again, I forgot the
Yeah.
guy. He's fine. He's just there. And whatever. He survived apparently. So there you go.
My 23, Jessica Kimball. Again, nothing against Carrie Keegan, the actress. She's actually good. It's just she's introduced halfway through the fucking movie. It seems like kind of almost like an afterthought or something. And then she just doesn't really do anything other than kick that knife in at the end.
Right.
Steven goes through all the pain and trauma, almost getting pulled into hell with Jason. And she really, it's just a side
Right.
character.
That's because her mother was there. There was all kinds of characters. Creighton Duke. There was so
Yeah.
many people at once, you know? Okay. My number 23 is Muffin. And I love Muffin, but I don't think she survived. So I can't have someone that I didn't think survived be high on a list of survivors. So
Yeah.
there you go. Lick my muffin.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. My number 24 is Deputy Rick Cologne because he, like we talked about
Oh,
earlier, he got locked in that thing. He knows that there is something happening out there that is vicious and violent, but he gets saved by being locked in the jail cell. So like Ted, spared
you know
until
what?
the fan films.
Right. He'd probably be my number 21, Rick Cologne, if I had him in there. I'd have him below KM14 because she actually does something, but above Rennie because Rennie's
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so that's that. So, okay, my number 24 is Whitney.
That
Because
low, eh? Yeah.
she didn't survive. I can't take
Oh,
don't you remember how the movie ended?
yeah. I guess you're right. Both
Okay.
Clay and her didn't survive, I guess. If that's how you're
Which is
taking it, then
why
yeah,
Clay
okay.
is my 25. I'll just tell you right now 24 and 25 are Whitney and Clay because they didn't survive.
Okay, and
That's
well, then I blended mine's a bit different. I just put Muffin and Toby as my 25 because yeah, is Muffin dead? We assume so, but then she pops up spring fresh at the end for possibly a dream sequence, I guess. But Toby, we do know lives, but Toby's so fucking useless. This
right.
dog has flashbacks of Jason, even though yeah, our visions of Jason like Rennie. It's just dumb, but he's better than Rennie. So Muffin and Toby tied for 25. I took one off, so I only have 28 because I ended up
Okay.
combining the two. So
So that's
wait
my
now.
question.
So you've done your 25 already now too.
Well, up to 25, yeah. Now my question is this. My number 26 is Toby. So there you go. So let me say this because fuck Toby, worst dog ever.
Ah,
Do they show Toby arriving at New York when they go in that boat? Is Toby in the boat with them?
he pops up in the water. Yeah, like they
Okay.
explain he pops up in the water, so they bring him on the boat. Yeah,
Do
he's
we
on the
see
boat.
him there? Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
he's on
Well,
the
you just
boat.
don't see him once they get in New York City. I don't remember her walking down the street with a dog. Do you?
No. He just pops up at the end when you think
Yeah,
it's
how
Vinny
stupid.
Jason running up because we
Yeah.
just saw there and then it ends up being the dog.
The weakest fake out ever. That
Yeah.
too. That's why Toby's so low. A dumb dog, not a dumb dog, but just doesn't do anything in the movie. There's no reason for it. Barks at a ghost Jason, which he shouldn't even be seeing a dream. Anyway, there you
Well,
go.
I'll put Clay and Whitney at the bottom with them. If I had to change that, they would go there too, based on what you said. You're right, if they didn't survive. But then I put, so my 26 is all the kids in part six.
Oh,
By
Yeah.
27, they all went through the same torment, like in the sense they were terrorized by Jason, and they all lived.
Right. Good call.
27, Vic, the sheriff, the deputy, and the mayor, all from part five.
Vic.
Yeah, Vic lives.
What are you talking about, Vic lives? He got killed in the first few minutes.
No,
That's
that's
Vic.
Joey.
Forget it, Vic.
That's
Just forget
Joey.
it.
Yeah, Joey dies.
Yeah.
Vic lives.
Oh, he goes away.
Yeah,
You're right. He goes to
Vic, the
jail.
sheriff, the deputy, and the mayor from part five. They're all 27, tied even Steven there. And then my 28 is Rennie, the absolute fucking worst. Does absolutely fucking nothing. They wedge in. You talk about the backstory Chris had and how important it is. They wedge this in. It can't make any sense from the timeline. Skews everything. Feels totally forced. It's totally fucked. I hate it. And she's this. I'm sorry, Jensen Daggett. The worst of the worst survivor.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. Sorry, Rennie. But you're right. I'm with you. Nice. Well, we pretty much lined up on a lot of things. Tino was our biggest difference, and maybe Tom Matthews.
Tom,
But I mean,
the Tomster. Listen, let's get into this now. We wanted to talk
yeah.
Never Hike Alone. Now, we really were supposed to be talking about Never Hike Alone 2, but we figured why not go back and watch the first two as well? And then when I
Mhm.
didn't realize that ghost cut got released, because I really I've said it
Right.
on the show before. I got kind of fan filmed out, and there a
Mhm.
few would pop up, and I would try to check them out. But like I said, there's 80 fucking five of them. At some point, I mean, I remember Voorhees. I remember that Jason Rising, and I remember Vengeance coming out, one and two, and then of course the Never Hike Alones. But there's so many more, as we just said. So you
Right.
kind of get lost. But ultimately, the Ghost Cut combines Never Hike in the Woods, Never Hike Alone, and adds some extra footage like that was filmed for other things, like some newscast footage, a music video that he did, and bridges it all together in the proper timeline as well. And
Mhm.
I think it's the best. If you're going to watch them, that's the best way to watch the first two movies because it goes in the timeline. I wish they cut the credits out, though, in the
Yeah.
sense of I kind of wish they really blended it as one
Yeah.
movie. So like, what they
Because it
really done,
started.
yeah,
Yeah, what they did was after Ghost, not Ghost, yeah, after freaking Never Hike in the Snow part ends, whatever the stuff that took place before, when they go into Never Hike Alone, the whole credits start over again, and it says
yeah,
Womp Stomp Films, Never
yeah.
Hike Alone. Yeah, I
So they,
agree. They should have just done
yeah.
that at the beginning and just called it whatever, and just had it run smoothly through. 100%. It was a little
So,
off-putting.
especially with the ghost cut of it, you've already seen the
Right.
movie's been released. So now
Yeah.
this is a new cut. So it's everything that I guess Vincent DeSanti did. I'm speaking out of line. I'm assuming with in the newscast at the beginning, I thought were really well done. I thought they did
Yes.
a really good job with setting that up. So it takes the historical element, brings us to Never Hike or um, Never Hike in the Woods, which takes place beforehand. So it's the second one, the one that's a half an hour. That plays out. And then we get this music video that he did for Disappear, which is odd, but it works. It's about the kids that are in the water, and the one with the beer, and Jason pops up and kills them, and it goes to the song, but it kind of bridges the movies. And then they've got, I think, another. I forgot though. They put a newscast from Rick Colone in there talking about what happened in Never Hike in the Snow afterwards.
Right.
So that movie ends. There's that news conference with him, and then there's that music video, and then we get Never Hike Alone. But like I said, the best way to watch it because it builds you up to the new movie. Now, I did
Yep.
tell you to watch them in order, and maybe that was my mistake because I was so hyped up that Never Hike Alone 2 takes place simultaneously with Never Hike Alone for the most part, and then becomes a continuation. But what they did is they recon a few things just to kind of tighten it up and make it fit a bit better.
Yeah.
So by having you watch the original, I went by memory. But then I told you to go watch them in order, and maybe seeing them so close together, you're like, well, wait a second, this is a little bit different. It's a little bit different.
That
It's
is what
similar.
happened. But
It's the
I'll say
same,
this.
but it's not the exact same. Because in the end of I'll Never Hike Alone, you see the van pull way off, and Jason's following them with the axe. But in when they continue it in the sequel, Jason
Right.
throws the axe. It goes in. So they kind of do the old movie, serial Saturday morning serial where they'll you see something happen and then they go back and then something changes to continue the story and the hero lives or whatever. They
Yeah,
just
which I had a problem with because I
yep.
couldn't figure it out.
Uh,
Because Tommy looked different. He wore different clothes. The people he was with were different. They died different ways. So I thought when I'm watching the movie, well, let me, okay, I'll say this
Well,
and then I'll
they
move on
did
because
die
I want
different
to talk about.
ways. You just saw it from a different scenario. So you actually saw the guy get the axe into him instead of it just being
Okay.
a reveal in Never Hike Alone. But anyway, you say your notes. That's what I thought they did really well. They tried to use the existing film and frame around it in the sense of like, even if it was reshot, they framed it so that we didn't see him get hit with the axe, Axel, the paramedic. We just see him come back into the shot and kind of die, but there is an axe in him. And in Never Hike Alone 2, we see him get the axe into him.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I watched them close together and I still couldn't tell. All I knew is that I thought when they showed it, I thought Tommy got called back because he was an ambulance driver because they showed a hiker collapse where there was two people in a tent. I didn't know who that hiker was. Apparently, it's the guy from the first movie, but it's dark out and he had
Yeah.
long hair in the first movie. I couldn't. So I'm like, who is this guy that passed out? What's going on here? And then who are these two people? Then Tommy's back at the freaking at the hospital and he gets a call to show up back to Cunningham Road because another hiker got killed. So I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm thinking everything, all the events of part one already happened. So then he goes there again. And this thing happens. I'm like, well, wait a minute. So you're telling me this happened again? And who is this person? And I go, is that the same hitchhiker from the first movie? Is it someone different? The whole thing confused the hell out of me because I didn't, again,
Wow. I
they
was
should have
right
just
on
inserted
board.
the original shit. They should have inserted the original scene so you know because Tommy looked different.
But they don't
He
show
was
that
dressed
scene.
differently. Huh?
The guy collapses. The main character collapses at the end of part one and wakes up in the ambulance. So you don't actually
No.
see it. So what they did was they went back. They did all the stuff that I love from a continuation in a sequel. They showed shit that you didn't see from a different perspective. So you even see him recording his shit. This is all the stuff that I was hyped up on. You even see him circumventing the other campers that are there because they're being told not to trespass in and being stopped and whatever, or Tommy's there searching in the woods. I might be getting it confused, and he's there hiding, going, "Oh, we got to keep a low profile." And then he goes off and does the stuff that happens in Never Hike Alone, and then ends up collapsing. But we never actually see. So he ends up escaping from Jason for all his wounds from part one, falls on the ground, and he just wakes up in the van. So they actually
Well,
show how
yeah,
he got into there, or the ambulance, I should say.
it's cool now. But at the
Okay.
time when I'm watching it, I didn't piece it together that I thought this was another
Ah,
incident and another person that he was going to rescue because he's an ambulance driver. So I saw the people in the tent, which we didn't see in the first movie. I'm like, okay, this is something else, and this is some other person that got killed, and we need a reason for him to go back there and encounter Jason again. So I thought this was another one. And like when part two starts, I assume the events of part one are over because why the fuck wouldn't I? Because it's part two. So I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, part one ended. He got away from Jason, the hitchhiker guy, or not the hitchhiker, but the guy from part one that hosted. He went to the hospital. Tommy went back to his job, and that's that. They escaped. Now these are the events of part two. So I didn't know why they showed a flashback of the guy doing the thing. I thought maybe here's what I thought. I thought the freaking guy who hosts the channel from part one decided to go back where he came from. To go back, I'm thinking, man, this guy's crazy to go back where he already freaking went through this whole
wow.
ordeal. So I
I,
thought
I
all this was happening to
I
them.
honestly think you might be the only one that thought this because I honestly do. I had no clue. I was not confused in the slightest. I thought, oh, this is so cool that they took this direction for the first half of it, let's say, to kind of build upon stuff that's happening simultaneously, to incorporate the Rick Cologne character, Tommy Jarvis being the voyeur versus and protector of the land and always worried about Jason returning versus him being an ambulance driver. This guy out doing his YouTube video shit, and then these campers that
Mhm.
happen to be there. The biggest missed opportunity is I said in the when we reviewed and talked about Never Hike Alone. Now, whether it was us talking about it or whether it was me talking about it on TJF 13, I said the biggest missed opportunity is not incorporating some other campers in Never Hike Alone that got killed because there needed to be more kills, in my opinion. I still liked what he did with it, and so then they did do that here.
Well, yeah.
They incorporated more for the body
Yes.
count. Here's the problem: didn't deliver on the gore. That's my
What?
biggest complaint of
I
this
thought it was the
movie.
best gore of all
There's
three.
only one good kill. Really, it's when Rick Cologne gets killed. Like, and then there's that one girl that gets her chest or her stomach sliced in slow mo. But they had so many missed opportunities. The two campers that get killed that should have been way gorier, way better, especially with the budget that this movie had. Like this movie had a bigger budget than Terrifier 2 that ended up going into theaters. This was the money that this movie raised from a fan film was over 300,000 US dollars. 300,000 US dollars to make this fan film. Now, I don't care. We've said our piece on fan films, and are they plagiaristic? Are they that? Whatever. I mean, there's an audience for them. We see that, and if they're not giving us anything new, then who can stop people that want to donate to get these movies made? So I go back and forth on my thought process on them. I don't necessarily want to make one anymore, like I did way back when. There's 85 of them or more, as we've talked about, but I'm happy with the ones we've got. I like what they're trying to do with them, but I was shocked. That was my one biggest complaint. I have two complaints, two quibbles, and they're both nitpicks because I really enjoyed this. So if Vincent DeSante, like he's in one of the chats, and if I was to put it there, I wouldn't want him to think I was an asshole because a lot of the stuff are like, come on, Christian, that's a you thing. Yeah, it is, but I'm just saying. I just thought they could have delivered on the kills a bit more Friday the 13th style, a little bit more blood, and then they too many yabangs and too many maggot insert word here. That was my two things: maggot face, maggot balls, maggot man. Like, okay, enough with that. You played it. It was like the Andale for you in part 4 of Nightmare
Right.
done to 11. Just too much. We got it. He should have just done the yabang when he tried to shoot him in the head, and then Jason comes back and crushes his head down. That would have been perfect. But he says yabang 30 seconds right before it.
I
So we
know.
get it. He said it in part 6. We get that you're trying to continue that character. I'm not going to fault you for it because you're trying to, but it just was too many you bangs, you
It's
know?
fair.
And those are my minor quibbles. Like, too many of that and whatever. I know it's fan service, and I'm just being the nitpicky asshole pointing it out, but I was like, okay, enough with that. But I just was shocked. Maybe I'll have to give it I watched it twice. So I was like, am I mistaking those kills? Like the guy gets the thing in his head, blood comes down, and then she dies gorelessly.
I
You don't
can't
even
remember.
see her get killed.
I can't remember. I watched all three at once, and so it's like maybe it all blended up. But I thought my memories that they had the best gore of the three. So I could be wrong though. But let me say this: so I watched Never Hike Alone for the first time since. I liked it a little bit less. Still enjoy it.
Yeah,
Liked it a little bit less
same,
in the, huh?
same.
Same. Okay.
It's slow. Yeah, I agree.
Never Hike in the Snow. I liked much more than I liked it the first time. I think the
Same.
first time I saw it, I was expecting it to pick up after 2 and be more like 2 and be longer
Yeah.
and whatever. And then when it came out, it wasn't what I was expecting. So I was just kind of down on it. But this time watching it, it's
It was
better.
also
I mean,
short.
it's not
It was
better,
also
but
short. So it was like, I was like, what? This is the Philip the Never Hike Alone. This seemed like I was expecting it to be about another hour length movie. And
right,
it was 30 minutes. So I thought I was like, well, I felt cheated almost, even though I had no
right.
skin in the game. It was
But I'm with
I'm
you.
just an audience member. And so then I remember thinking, wow, this is I was major disappointed. So I was like, okay, well, I guess they shot their load the first time. Although the gore effect is one of the best. So Rick Cologne's death and the camper's death in Never Hike in the Snow are the two best effects in the whole thing. But you're right. I agree with you. I know you're not done your thought process, but Never Hike Alone went just down a little bit for me. Still liked it. Still liked it just down a bit. Never Hike in the Snow
Yep.
went way up for me. But then part 2 went even higher. So you could see
Yep.
progression. He's actually gotten better with each fan film he's made in the progression of being made.
Well, yeah, there was a couple issues with in the snow though. Let's see. Blood on the Snow was good. Opening kills good. Axe to the mouth. Yeah. No more
Right.
heavy steps, which was an improvement after the first one with the heavy
Yeah.
steps that none of us
Yeah.
liked.
The RoboCop
Um,
steps.
yeah. Sad for the mom. See, that was good because you cared about the mother, the missing,
And good
and I didn't
actress.
understand why. Yeah, that's true. Now, speaking
Yeah.
of acting, I didn't understand why Cologne didn't tell the mother that the body was gone because it wasn't gone yet. At one time, he just thought it was dead and he left. So why wouldn't he go and tell the mother your son is dead? Why did he keep it under wraps and say missing? That part I don't
Because they
understand.
wanted to, they needed the body. They only saw blood. They didn't know see the body yet.
They did see the body. What are you talking about?
No,
That's
the
what the
body got
movie
dragged away.
opened.
Jason dragged the body away.
Jason dragged the body away after they had left. Because remember they were there and they had that whole thing go on, and there was the. Don't you remember the? Okay, let me explain.
No, I
Don't
don't
you
think
remember the
so.
freaking the yellow tape being there and the body being in there with the yellow tape when they
No,
got
there's
there?
just blood. And then he said, throw the salt down. I don't want to see the blood." They had no body. They assumed he was dead because of the blood, but they wanted to clean up the mess because they didn't know if that was him or not.
What? Oh,
Yeah,
so he
Jason
well
pulls
the
the
body's
body.
there, but they didn't
Jason
know
axes him in the mouth and pulls the body away right after, like literally right after. And
after
I
what.
actually watched the doc, and I could double down on that because I watched a thing of behind the scenes, which is just as long as the movie, and I only watched the first 5 minutes of it. And he says it was also kind of cool to show Jason take, like Vincent DeSanti was saying, it was also really cool to show Jason kill, but then also remove the body from the scene, so then you see him drag him away right after.
Okay, so that's where I was wrong. Maybe they showed the drag away after that scene because I remember them going there and freaking there's yellow tape down there, and they're talking about the dead kid. I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
they
I gotta
assume
watch
he's
it
dead
again.
because there's something happening, but he didn't want to cause any. That's why he said, "You're going to go home, and you're not going to. I'm going to do the report." My thing there was that the emergency flashing lights were off the fucking chart. Like, I get it, we're at a crime scene here. I don't know if it's the digital film or whatever, or it was just blindingly flashing that, like, it's not a nitpick, it's more just like, wow, it was like overdone. I guess it is a nitpick because I would have like that toned down a bit. That was the only thing I took away negative from that. Acting was good and it's a little short. That's really the only two things, but I liked what they were trying to do there, and that was sort of the birth of Jason. Like, Tommy thinks he's in the woods, still worried about him. Rick Cologne still thinks that Tommy's a menace, and wants and thinks that he had something to do with everything way back when. Can't 100% trust him, and now they've got a dead body. And then those other dead bodies,
Hmm.
because so like that does don't they in the other one says he wants an all points bulletin put out for Tommy Jarvis because he thinks it's him that did all the murders in part two.
Oh, I thought it was just for this one. See, I gotta watch it again. I'm all
Yeah,
fucking confused.
they don't find the body until the end of part
Okay.
two. And that's when the mom comes, sees the body, and they kept the yellow coat. He was frozen. We see him frozen in Never Hike in the Snow. And then we realize, because time's gone by, and then we see him, they find all the bodies at the end, and the mother gets to finally put closure to it. So I thought that's what I liked about it, is there's more character development and character than in the Friday the 13th movies. I could be very open and honest about that. That they managed to do that very well, and the acting is really quite good for fan made movies. And in some cases better than like some of the canon movies that had some installments had some pretty weak acting. Um, so the major difference is we're not using film here, we're using digital, but they make the production value look as good as they can with the digital look. I mean, it's shot on red, I believe, so it's shot
Hmm.
on stuff that most major movies are shot on, and it's treated as such. Like, when I make a fan film, we're going to be going out and we're going to be recording the sound, and we're going to be filming as we go. They had a crew,
Right. Right.
so there might not be any profit made from this movie, but everybody, from my understanding, got paid. That's where the money goes. So the cinematographer got paid, the director gets paid, the actors get paid. It's just there's no I think profit can be made from it.
At least not on YouTube. But if they sell the DVDs, there has to be profit.
But you can't. I don't think they can, because it's
Where's the money go
still
then?
It's still there. Well, I don't think they can sell them. I think they have to be given away as
They do sell
perks.
them. We've
No,
had this
that's other.
discussion years
No,
ago.
I think that was people. I think that was people. Your perk, if you went to this level, got one. People are then selling them on eBay. They have no control over that. I'm
No,
not
that's
saying Ron
different.
Stomp Films are not selling them. There are people that
Okay.
got them and are selling them for astronomical money because it's eBay and they can and figure that's the only way you can get them.
Oh, I didn't
Um,
know. Okay.
yeah, because they can't make money or they'll get sued. I'm still wondering how they still haven't gotten sued. That was always my thing. Is you're still taking like a copyrighted work and making something from it standalone. People are still getting paid, but there's no profit made from it. But people are still getting paid. So I'm still like, I don't know how the legalities or work around that.
Yeah. Well, Never Hike Alone. I'm looking at this and I wrote this thing down. Characters created by Cunningham Miller and Ron Kurz. What confuses me is that they say Cunningham, Ron Kurz, and Victor Miller, but Tommy Jarvis is the character from part 6. This Tommy Jarvis. How
Very
come they
true.
don't get credit for that character?
Yeah,
It's
from
weird, isn't it?
well, either they always just say not affiliated with Paramount or New Line or Warner Brothers just to cover all their asses from that as well. So maybe that's where they get away
Right.
with it. But you're right; they say characters by that, but it's really
Part 6.
um,
Cologne and him.
McMillan. Forgot his first name all of a sudden. McMillan. But even Tommy Jarvis though was created before that. So Joseph Zito or whoever wrote Part
Right.
Four, or Joseph Zito, Kissiner. I don't know. I get them all confused. Who wrote what? But Part Four and Part Six definitely.
Yeah, they don't get any
McLaughlin
credit
should have
there.
been credited as well. You're right.
I thought that was weird. And fuck Jacket Jason. That's the one problem I have with this freaking franchise here. The Never Hike Alones. They could have just gone without Jacket
Yeah,
Jason, but
yeah.
everybody's got to have Jacket Jason now. Ah, anyway,
Jacket Jason.
I can't stand it. So, just the notes I have here. I won't get into them. We're not going to have the time. But
No, no, get
for
it. We have time. We have some
for all,
time.
but I watched all three and took notes for all three. So that's
Ah,
that.
okay.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So, but I do want to say something about In the Snow again. They do say you bang on In the Snow, and he
Yes.
says it in a way that proves us right. It's not you bang, it's you bang, because he doesn't
Yeah.
say it in a so it's official. Okay, so we were right about that. Um, okay, good shot from pick to body. So that's when I remember seeing the son. They show a picture of the at the mother's house, right? And they show the kid's face, and then the next time we see him, he's in Jason's place with Jason. But
He's
I remember
frozen.
seeing him. Sorry,
Yeah, frozen.
right? But I remember seeing him earlier in the movie on the ground with the X in the mouth, and that's when I thought they came and they saw him. That's what I don't
No,
know. I gotta watch it again.
they show a beautiful above shot of him with the axe in the mouth, and then
Uh-huh.
Jason pulls him away. Now, whether there's a cut scene, but the cops, it's not a cut scene, the cops, whether there's a cut scene in between before he gets pulled away, I can't recall right off the top of my
I
head.
gotta
But I
watch.
think almost instantaneous, Jason grabs his legs and pulls him out, and there's a shot of him going into the distance, dragging him into the woods. And then the next time, yes, we cut to the mom later, and then there's a picture later, and then you're right, there's a dissolve to the frozen. It's
Yeah.
it's a great transition.
So why do the cops get called to the woods in the first place? Because there's blood on the ground. There's no body, so they tape off blood, and that's it.
Yeah, there was a reason they got called. Again, it's mistaken me because
Huh.
I just watched those to lead up into that. Tommy
Yeah.
Jarvis has been snooping around again. Like they're remember, like they're always Rick Cologne, Tommy Jarvis. They're kind of always on edge with Crystal Lake and the surrounding area,
Right. Okay.
and kind of
Well,
keep it
I'll
off
say
limits.
this about In the Snow. I didn't like Rick Cologne's acting in this movie, especially when he was at the mother's house and he was talking to her. Seems like he got better in the second one, in Never Hike Alone
I
too. But
agreed.
for some reason,
Agreed.
yeah, In the Snow he seemed off. It seemed like independent movie acting, like
It
the
seemed
shit
like fan
movies you've seen,
film.
which is
Yeah.
why I can't
Yeah.
like I can't watch them. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And there was one ridiculous part of In the Snow. He walks up, he's behind freaking Jason, and he's got a gun pulled on him, and he's sitting there, and there's candles in front of him, and for no reason in Jason's shack or whatever he's hanging out, all of a sudden everything just goes dark for no reason. There's no explanation for it. There's like 8 candles sitting in front of Jason. I don't think he blew him out. They didn't show him do that. All of a sudden, it got dark for no reason. I was like, that's a weird decision to make. Um, and and that was it. But it was a way for Jason to escape, and that's it. But I'll say this: the first one I give 7.5. The second one I give a 7. I'll stick with that. Then we go into
Oh,
the
okay.
third one,
Yeah, I
and
think
I
I'd say
like it the most.
I said I'm 7, 7.5, and the third one I think I've given an 8. So
I'm an
they
8
just
too.
went up one a half point each. But no, I did like the second one much more. I still really like the first. Like the first
Me
one
too.
was became the definitive. There are fan films that were made before this, but you just weren't like of those 85 that I listed earlier. I'd say that probably three-quarters of them were from after Never Hike Alone came out.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that's what really got the ball rolling. People were
Yeah.
like, we
Oh
can do
yeah.
this? You know what I mean? And then
It's
we're
like a
just
Blair
talking about
Witch thing.
Friday fan films. We haven't talked about the fact that there's Halloween fan films, Nightmare on Elm Street fan
It's all
films,
of them.
Scream fan.
Yep.
Every fucking franchise has a bunch of fan films. It's just the Friday the
Yep.
13th ones seem to be the crazy ones. And like I said, you're going to get ones that are someone's grabbing their camera, in camera editing, a cheap store bought hockey mask, and whatever. So that will be my goal, is to weed through them all and just maybe review a few each episode.
No, that's cool. No, that's definitely cool. The callbacks were all cool, and Never Hike Alone too. Um, Jason covering the tracks is cool. I didn't know who the hiker was at first, so that was my note. And then LOL, who took those pics? Oh yeah, how about that one part when they have they have pics of other victims in the franchise, and they're literally scenes
Yeah.
from a movie. It's Marcy getting an axe in the head in the one shot. There's
Yes.
another thing with another kill. I'm like, who the fuck would take those pictures? Why would you show those for the people?
I
It-
I
What
thought
were
the
they
same
thinking
thing.
doing that?
That's fan service. They
Yeah.
go, oh, but they don't think they're not thinking the one step further
Well,
that
just show them in another scene in the
yeah
movie.
or something.
Not
I
their
hear
death.
you. Yeah, I get it. Maybe
These are the
they're mug,
characters.
maybe they're glamour shot or whatever. If they could have gotten hold of it, I thought the same thing. Did you notice in Never Hike in the Snow? The I know we're jumping movie to movie to movie, but that when they're in the kitchen and it showed the fridge, they're talking. It says "Take your best shot" was written in like the little letters that you
No.
could. I thought those the little Easter eggs like that were fun, and I will say that a lot of the fan films have done it, but I like some of the ones he did. Like "Take Your Best Shot" was a nice one, even if it's from part 8. It's a great line
Right.
from part 8 and whatever
Yeah.
memorable. Like
Yeah.
that's the stuff that's really cool. So yeah, I noticed that, and I noticed those mug shots too, and I thought, or not those scenes, and I thought you're right. That was a little much.
Yeah. But they all had good callbacks. Like even in the first one, the freaking, they had them in there. They had like oh, what the hell did they do in there? They've always had the callbacks in all of them. They've done a good job with that stuff. I would say even the final chapter looking tent in the part one looks like the same one that Rob Dyer had, that yellow tent. I think they might have
Yeah,
done that on purpose. It's just it was good. The scores always had good stingers in there and stuff, like take you back to the original and everything else. There's one thing I wanted to mention about the mask looks great, the look is great, except for the jacket. In the original movie, in Never Hike Alone, the blood through the holes is such a great idea that nobody ever did. All those Jason movies with the mask, that was a nice creative idea to have him
yeah.
freaking take a shot and blood come through the holes in the mask. That was
It's
badass,
a good
man.
reveal when they
And the
both
moon and the cloud shot for the chasing, like the originals, you
like the
know?
part 1 and 2, like with the dissolve.
Yes.
I like when they even dissolved the full moon as being his eyeball through the mask. That was a
Yes.
great transition too.
Yeah.
So
They
I'm
did some
starting to
cool shit.
because I watched them all yesterday too. I'm getting very confused
Right.
of now what happened in which one. But I know the
We'll
movies,
watch them
but
all.
some of these little additions. I'm not too sure what they
Uh-huh.
went. But yeah, no, they're all good to great. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're better than I like at least 3 or 4 of the actual canon films.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm with you, man. As far as part 2, like I said, I got confused for a bit with what was going on. I'll tell you what was awesome. for once I wanted a gunshot. I wanted Deputy Clone to get friggin' shot because they get bang and everything else. I'm like, shoot him, freaking blow his head off. I was getting annoyed with him. Um, it was great. That one scene when Jason goes into the water was freaking awesome. We've never seen this. You see how he
Yeah.
casually he does this thing and he gets underwater and stays there. And then when he comes out, it's almost the same shot from freaking Freddy vs. Jason. The way he walks
Yeah.
out and all that at the end of
So
it.
there's a nice callback. I like
Yeah,
the coming out. I admit someone else pointed out that they loved that shot of him going in the water. I thought it looked a little wonky, admittedly.
really.
Like I think whoop, whoop. like he fell in. But again, nitpick. I mean,
Yeah,
they gave Jason because at first I thought I was thinking when I first watched it again because you're trying to absorb so much when you're doing this because you're giddy. Like I'm giddy when something new comes
yeah.
out, and I think there's been a lot of love put in behind the scenes. That's why I don't want to seem like I'm being harsh. Like I mean, I love the fact that these are being made, but then I'm trying to critique them like I would critique a new film that came out. So
Well,
that's why
this
I
one
say I
here
hope.
deserves that.
Yeah,
See, this movie here, the third one. All right, this is the closest to a real movie, and it's an actual slasher. It really is. It's like watching a regular slasher movie. It looks good. People are getting them bumped off. It's a good story. You keep up with. It's. I like the kills. It's like watching a regular old slasher. I'll tell you what's awesome. Although I didn't like the neck. The neck was too long for the freaking mom, the mother's head, because she got chopped
yeah,
off
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
neck
yeah.
shouldn't all be there. They should have fixed that up a little bit. But everything they did with the mother's head in the freaking Crystal Lake and everything else, I would have so much preferred that. They should have done this in the regular franchise. That should have been a nail in the coffin in like part 6 instead of just drowning them in Camp Crystal Lake again or something. They never, all these years, they had to mess with that head, and no one thought to do it until now. I have to give
Yeah.
them props for that. But that's a good thing. It's like he
Well,
keeps returning. That's all he has left of his mother is that head. And no one ever thought to freaking make something out of that except in part 2 when it's there. And then he just abandoned that head. Such a
yeah.
smart move to bring it back the way they didn't.
Yeah,
For
in all
you know,
three of them because it's in all. I think it's referenced in all, and it's in that Jason
yeah,
Rising as well. They do some cool things with it as well in that fan film. But no, you're absolutely right. See, my thing was they had the kills, so they had the slasher aspect. He get
yeah.
that those campers those. So Gino or whatever his name is gets hit in the back of his head. And it's bleeding, but then it's a cutaway kill for her. I know that his focus would have not been on the gore, but it is one of the staples of Friday the 13th, the kills. So I just thought you had your opportunity here that could have been delivered. Yes, he delivers later. You get the scythe or whatever it is across the stomach there, and it geysers out, and it's all done in slow mo with the
Yeah,
red.
dude,
It's really cool there. But then
ambulance people. That was
they
great.
throw it. It's like I was like, that's okay. It goes by Rick Cologne and in his back. It was good. I still think they missed an opportunity there, but Rick Cologne's death had a nice impact, no pun intended, because it was really
Yeah.
visceral and gory. So I get what he was playing with, but I just thought with the budget, they could have done something. When they chucks that head in, I thought the head looked a little phony. I mean, yes, I get it. It's a fake fucking head. But compared to what we've become accustomed to, I was a little surprised. Again, I'm just trying to be as open and honest. I still give it a freaking 8. I
Any
still
heads are tough.
I know. I'm just saying that's what it is. But it was the most slashery out of the bunch, and still that there are other ones that there are way more kills. Other fan films that there are way more kills, and that's what they're interested in. I will say that these ones, they touch upon it. Jason looks great, so and he gets good hero shots, and they get more human emotion
Yeah.
and more story and character driven, which let's be like I said, I'm doubling down. I said it earlier that the main movies didn't do per
Right.
se. Yeah, happy Chris, you fuck. I'm just kidding.
What'd you say? Happy Christmas.
I said per se instead
And
of
then you said
par
happy.
se.
Oh, okay. And happy Christmas after that. I thought I heard you say. I'm freaking losing it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
happy Christmas,
Um,
everybody.
and the way they ended it, they should have ended another movie previously that way with the way they destroyed Jason. It should have ended this way before in the franchise. It would have been a great send off after they brought him back from part 5 and 6 and everything. And it was kind of cool at the end when what's his name was shown, Larry Zellner, the freaking
Yeah.
mayor. Skull,
Well,
you
you mean
know.
cutting his head off like his mom? Like he died exactly the way how his mom died? Like we
Oh,
always
that's
say,
true
chop
too.
his head off, but it's literally
Right,
how the mom died. Chop the head off. Uh,
right. Makes perfect sense. Man,
my only
but wait
thing
a minute.
there, I'm surprised you didn't say this already because it's no different than you critique when the rock falls in part 6 and the Camp Blood sign is out there. He fucking chucks that GoPro
The
into the
camera, I
water.
remember.
Yeah, and a good thing when you see Jason's body and severed head, the GoPro is right there as well in the water.
Right. You don't like
Wow.
that, you're saying?
Uh, I'm just trying to argue a point that you'd always say. You got mad that a rock falls in part 6 with the chains attached to it and lands on a Camp Blood sign that's at the ground, which was a great callback to the everybody's saying calling
Why
it
did I
Camp Blood and
complain about
whatever.
that?
You did complain about it. I'm saying I
What
don't
did I say?
understand.
What was my complaint?
Oh, you were mad that that sign was out in the middle of the lake or something like that, and it was there. Well, how did they? What, they didn't toss Jason's body out to the lake, toss his head out to the lake. He takes the GoPro, chucks it out to the lake. When they cut back to that final shot, the GoPro is sitting right beside Jason's severed head, which is right above his body. Beautifully said. It's just like too coincidental that everything's right there in that one little spot.
Maybe they were on the other side when Jason went in the water, the other side of the
Okay, I'm
lake.
just saying, like, it just seems like I didn't need the GoPro in that one last scene. Again, nitpicking. I don't care. We saw him toss it into the water, good
Yeah,
call, and whatever. And then we cut back to Jason. It could have just been Jason's head. Doesn't matter. You didn't even need to see his body because
I
the air
suppose.
bubbles come through the holes as
Yeah,
well, um, which is like well, pretty much a callback to any Friday the 13th movie. So no, I still
yeah.
like enjoyed it. I'm just trying to be as critical as I would with any new film that came out.
No, that's fair. I guess I just gave a reason why they killed two birds with one stone. We're gonna hide this and forget about the past and Jason. We're gonna throw the camera away, and as long as we're throwing it in the water, let's show Jason in the water. I just figured they just killed two birds, but I understand. I do. I don't understand what I thought the gore when they killed the two ambulance drivers because you just said they didn't show it in the first one. This time they showed it, so there's more gore. That's what I'm saying. They showed the kills, except maybe the one cutaway.
No, it was gorier than it's. That's what I said. It's almost like
Yeah.
maybe it's just the evolution of the film and him already knowing he was going to do it. But my quibble with the first one was that there was no extra kills really because I mean there
Yeah.
are but because of the way that the movie's structured. So be it. I said
Right.
that would have been the one nice add-on. They got the Playboy in there and whatever, so it would have been kind of cool. Maybe some other guys are trying to do just camping. They just figured they'd
Right.
break in like Sandra, he didn't do that for that first one, but
Well,
they
nobody
did do
should
it
be there.
here. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying that was I'm just saying from a body count standpoint, that was the one thing I thought was missing in Never Hike Alone. But it was a different type of movie. I've forgiven it. Then he gives you the big gorge scene at the beginning of Never Hike in the Snow, and essentially that's the big moment there. I mean, there's more that happens, but you get the big moment at the beginning, uh,
Hmm.
and the movie's great. And this one, it's scattered throughout, but there's two kills that I can think of that have gore. I mean, yeah, you get the head tossed in, you get the slice across, which is the blood. Yeah, he throws it, but it's not really that gory. It's in his back after, and he falls to the ground. And then you get Rick Cologne for that's sort of like the main kill because that's
And the
the
two
goriest
ambulance
one.
drivers and Jason.
Yeah, well, that's it. The two ambulance drivers is the one I talk about, right? Where he gets sliced across. No, or those are the
No,
paramedics.
that's not an ambulance driver. The one that gets sliced across is the heavyset girl later in the hospital. Remember that one girl?
Well, what were the ambulance
Remember?
drivers' deaths? Because there's a body
An
count.
X went
I'm
into
just
one.
saying,
I
yeah.
don't remember exactly, but I remember
Like
they
I
were
just
good.
feel like there's more cutaway than good old on screen
Huh.
death. And I'm just saying for the budget that the movie had. Again, we're talking about a movie that ended up being uh, an 80 almost 80 minutes, 85 minutes. So it's pretty much feature length. It's as much as
Yeah.
we need it to be. And that was one thing I just thought it was like I could just use a little bit more of that.
I'm gonna
But
watch
again,
it
this
again.
is a me thing. Could have used a little bit more of that and a little less your bangs. nitpicks. I'm telling you, I like the movie. 8 out of 10. I
Oh
love
yeah, 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 yeah.
it's
Right
in the
on.
great range, but for fan film, it's more than anybody can deliver. It's probably the best one so far. I've said that about a couple because I did really like Jason Rising when I first saw it, but I had that nitpick. And see it again, it's in that 7 to 7.5 range as well. Jason
So,
Rising. And I got to check out the Vengeance ones. I liked because they were well made, but too many characters. The acting was wishy washy in certain things, but I got to give those two a watch again.
um,
And too
what
many
was
mass kills. That's what those ones like doing. Like you get the body count there, no question, but it's like mass slaughterings. Like it's like the cornfield scene over and over again. And I kind of like, limit to one or two people at a time,
Mhm.
old
True.
school style.
I agree with that. Yeah. So these movies, none of them can count in our freaking slasher list because they're not really Friday the 13th,
Well,
but they're
now they're also a franchise. I mean, there's only three, I guess, but they're
right.
part of the I'd still say that they're part of the their fan films based upon the Friday the 13th franchise. So I don't think we can include them. It's kind of a cheat to be allowed to include them
True.
when you can't include the Friday the 13th films they're based on. So I don't think we could, or any fan film, even if it's a one and done, because it's the same principle. It's stemming from an established franchise.
Right. Yeah, that was weird that Jason tried to cover his tracks up though. Remember the one kill before the ambulance? He killed the one guy and then he moved the truck. He moved the guy's truck so Tommy wouldn't see that he was there. Ordinarily, Jason would just continue to go to the ambulance and just kill everybody. Why is he covering his tracks? It's not unlike him,
Yeah.
you know? It's weird.
Well, I
But
think that was a decision they wanted to do. That was one of his traits is to hide the bodies to take suspicion off. But yeah, I get it. Like it's not something where anyway. Yeah,
not that
I
I'm
get it.
knocking
But
it. That's a nitpick. That's all I'm
yeah,
saying. There was just
my
things
my,
that
my
didn't
things
fit.
were all nitpicks. Like I wanted
Yeah.
more gore. There's gore in the movie. It's gory. It's
Yeah.
gory. I just was shocked. And the other things were like I said, everything that I had were nitpicks for something that I would have wanted. And but they succeeded in what they did. They wanted to do. It's definitely a fan film worth checking out.
Yep. And I like Jason's mother being involved in all of them and having a presence, not just the head, but the physical, the young one talking to him and stuff. And you feel sad for Jason a little bit in the second one when he's sitting there after he kills and he just kind of puts his head down. It's interesting. I kind of like showing.
She was good. I
Yeah.
do like who they used in the Jason Rising one more
Oh,
for the Pamela with the head. Yeah, obviously,
right.
it just seemed more like closer to the original, but not the same. Uh, but got that feeling through. But she was all right. She really just had to raise her arms both times and say Jason. But I like that incorporation. Some of that I think came from the video game too. Although the video game's release, I can't remember now if it was before Never Hike Alone or after, because they used Jason's
Before.
mother, the head and the voice as the kind of the catalyst to have him being killed and keep him of avenging her death and what they did to them and whatever, which I always thought
Mhm.
was great.
Yeah, I'm
And
glad.
in the game is where the tapes of Rick Cologne left the Wessex County or left there and moved to Shocker, where he ended up being killed by Horace Pinker. So that
Really?
they're the Tommy tapes as part of the video game. That was one of the Easter eggs that they had there. That it's the same
Weird.
character, Rick Cologne, and that he moved. So that's where it became canon, or part of it.
Wow.
But now but the fan films have said, yeah, no, he's alive, and we're taking it this way.
Right. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I couldn't figure it out why he didn't know that Jason really existed. Like he's real. He's fucking real. I'm thinking, where were you in the first movie? But you figured it out. So I guess when Megan came back with Tommy, what did they say? Well, my father's dead and this
Yeah,
cop is
yeah,
dead,
yeah,
but
exactly.
it was
Yeah.
Jason and he doesn't believe him. So what do you think? Tommy did it all these years? I don't
Well,
know.
this is there.
And
There
Megan's
are
lying.
unanswered. There are still some
Right.
unanswered questions, but we never really got them answered in the damn real series, one way or the other. They just ignored it and had
Well, because it
Jason
ended after
stay at the
6.
bottom of the lake for 10 years or whatever.
Right.
It's such a ridiculous because remember he's down at the bottom of the lake, as we've pointed out numerous times at the beginning of part 7, when um, um, oh my God, Lincoln Park, Tina's a kid, and then she grows to a
Lincoln
teenager.
Park. Did you call her
Lincoln,
Lincoln Park?
yeah, I did.
Lar Park, Lincoln? Lincoln Park. Who'd have thought to put those two things, but they fit in perfectly.
Yeah.
Lar Park, Lincoln, Lincoln Park.
Yeah.
Wow, she should be involved with the band. The new
Oh.
singer for Lincoln Park, Lar Park, Lincoln.
Oh shit. But yeah, that always, they just decided to just fuck the continuity a little bit more.
It's okay. No, I'm just nitpicking. I'm just having fun about it.
No, of course, of course. No,
Quite good though.
they're fan
You know?
films for a reason. I mean,
Right.
But and so keeps the mythology alive. And hey, you know what? If that show finally gets going, then we'll have something legit. If another movie comes out, it's legit. I don't think fan films are going anywhere.
Right. No, that's fine with me too. I don't think you're gonna get better than this one, but these three combined, pretty freaking solid. Glad that they came around and they've resurrected the franchise, even though they're not part of the franchise officially. It's nice to see Jason do this stuff again. You know, so good stuff. Just fuck that jacket. Fuck Jacket Jason. And now everybody in the world knows that there's a Friday the 13th in October, because so many people are making that post in all these horror groups for the past month. It's like, you still haven't seen it? I just found out that Friday the 13th is in October. How I feel when I find it. They show these memes. I'm like, where the fuck have you been? People have been talking about this shit in these horror groups for fucking months.
They haven't looked at a fucking calendar.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Between that and if I never see that one picture again ever with Jacket Jason holding those freaking like those Crocs that are like in the white you know what I'm talking about? Like his mask, but they're the Croc shoes.
Yeah.
And he's looking at every Friday the 13th they pop up like it's something new. And people set them all. I'm like, this thing's fucking 8 years old now. Move on to something new.
I don't want to see Jacket Jason or Croc wearing Jason.
No, fuck them. And in that one, it's the worst because it's Crocs and Jacket.
I actually don't mind. I'm talking to you. I have no care. I like Jacket Jason. I'm okay with it.
How do you like Jacket? Really?
I mean, I like the original. I like Jacket Jason. Some of these fan films it's great because they're using the part 3 and 4 model of Jason.
Jacket. What is he,
with
cold?
no jacket?
Why would Jason be cold? Get the fuck out of here. Ever since they put gloves and a tool belt on him.
Well, you want him walking naked? Naked
fucked
Jason?
Up the whole series. No, but just let him wear what he wore in part 3 and 4. That was the perfect look. The perfect look. A jacket? Come on, now you make him a pussy. It's like, remember when they put the jacket on in Frankenstein in that one movie? That fur jacket?
The fur joke, the fur coat.
That's that's what I see when I see Jacket Jason. It's that much of a fucking effrontery to me. It's awful.
Fur coat Jason. Should have a mink coat the next one.
Mink. Oh, you should have a starter jacket from the 80s. Chicago Bears, man, or some shit.
Wow. Well, hey, everybody. Next time, happy Halloween. Next time, we'll probably do those vampire movies finally.
Yeah, we'll get to those vamps. We'll get to it. We had to do this. Friday the 13th, everything else. We were all watching Friday the 13th movies. It was on our mind. Did you watch one on Friday the 13th or no?
No, because I ended up driving, half my day was coming back from Ottawa. And then we ended up, so when I got home, it was just a busy night. And I knew that movie was coming out. I picked up my daughter from work, came home, and I watched that fan film.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I watched
and I rewatched it in the morning, like I said.
Nice. I watched the final chapter with the guys, and I asked them about the suicidal dog, and both of them say that they think Jason threw him out the window. And I was showing them, it looks like he jumps up right before, but they think that the jump up is Jason throwing him up into the fucking thing.
No, I mean, I think that's what they expected. I think that's what they're intending. The downfall is it just can't physically happen. Like he's down in the basement. Like this is why I wanted to do that continuity video, and every now and then I'm like,
I'm not even thinking about that.
I'm like, oh, there's no rhyme or reason. He can't be upstairs. He can't make it upstairs to do that
may
kill.
Be possible. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I just don't think about that. I just think about, I'm more concerned with how Gordon died than why Jason's there. I guess that's
Well, I'm
more of
saying,
the
yeah, I'm just saying
discussion.
the reason he can't be Jason is because physically Jason can't be there. I mean, that's the argument. So Gordon,
Oh,
like, I
I
mean,
see what you're saying.
like physically Jason can is stuck in the basement.
Oh, so
That's what I've been trying to say. Like, I'm not. I feel like I'm wording this very
oh, articulately.
articulately.
I
No,
thought
no,
in
not
your
just today.
mind,
All the time.
I know this. Hold on now. All
Yeah.
these years, I thought you were saying that it was a bad move to put Jason up there because how could he have gotten up there? So you're saying not even that. You're saying in the context of this film that Jason was still in the basement. Because the next time you see Jason after that scene, where is he? Is he upstairs or is he downstairs?
He's in the basement with no way to get out of it. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think
Trapped?
we're saying the exact same thing. He's stuck there. Gordon runs by Trish, who just, and Rob is down in the basement. Gordon runs by Trish, runs upstairs, and dives through the window.
Okay. Well, maybe you're onto something then. So Jason was never there. Oh, that's possible. Well, I was thinking about this. Later on in the movie, Trish does the same thing that freaking Gordon does and jump out the window. I think she took a pointer from Gordon.
Yeah. She should have landed right beside the dead dog.
She should have. They should have both been on the car.
But
Gordon
like,
should have been dead on the hood, and she should have landed on the top of the fucking thing. Moved on. You
she
know?
tried to Gordon herself and lived.
Yeah, why wouldn't you ever jump out the same one that was already busted? The window,
Oh.
you know? Anyway, let's get out of here. Happy
Yeah, man.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween,
Right?
everybody.
Yeah, we love you guys. Manchichi, manchichi. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next month. Much love. Peace.